later. On the
Okay.
participants, me, you, and then there's two other in the scene. Is that the?
What do you mean?
I'll screenshot it and send it to you.
Oh, you mean the article in the video I have lined up ready to go?
Oh, is that what that is?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's all that is.
I'm sorry. Okay, I didn't see that before. That's brand new for me. So
Uh,
it
yeah,
had.
that's just the
Yeah.
video and the screen share for the article we're about to cover.
I got your grasshopper. It's your show there, Missy. Take it away. Although I do have a comment when you're done.
Oh, go ahead. I'm still getting the stuff share out.
Oh, but will they know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Not.
they'll be able to hear you.
Oh, well, how can they if they haven't gotten it yet? Oh, they're just telling them that we're live. Is that correct?
Well, I mean, it's streaming,
I.
but I haven't sent out the links to everybody. I'm working on that part.
Oh, well, you can work on that part. I'll wait a second. I can always hum or take a drink or do something like that. Fortunately,
Yes.
questions that need answers don't know any of the bug stories. Nothing like that occurred. No weird kind of things occurred, although I will share that one story about the doctors. But I did want to mention that I wanted to talk on both platforms, maybe once, maybe a couple times, just so people understand how we developed. Was that Crazy Bee and I uh, talked about having this podcast a while ago, and I had been in and out of the hospital, and things happened, and Crazy Bee started playing around with various platforms such as Rumble, StreamYard, Evmux, and various things to see what was going to work. And that's how questions that need answers developed. Is that correct, Crazy Bee?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so she used that platform to be a test subject for Wrecked Sisters. So Wrecked Sisters is the what I call the umbrella, and then questions that need answers is Crazy Bee's part that she handles 2 days a week, uh, doing in-depth dives on various subject matters that are of interest, and they can range from anything such as glitter shortage that's occurring all the way through the new pope. Um, and then we also will be launching probably in January of 2026 Insomniac Theater, which is going to be the fun and wild station we hope to be, but we shall see how things go if we're not crazed by then. So that's,
We'll see how it
yeah.
goes.
And Wrecked Sisters is ultimately our, I'd say, political current events, uh, deep dives into specific topics such as Doge, immigration, the FAA, various governmental agencies. Anything that floats our boat kind of goes into Wrecked Sisters. But then you also get the both of us personal stories. We carry on quite a bit. Uh, I think Crazy Bee may swear more than I do when we're on,
May, I usually do.
but when we're off, I think I might have her beat. So, we both were raised by, I think you said what, your dad was in the Navy and you had people in the Air Force
My
or what?
stepdad was Army. My
Okay,
dad was Navy. My stepdad was Army.
okay, so she's been around language and my dad was Navy, and so I've been around language. And so, when you're brought up that way and every other word is the F bomb, well, hey,
Well, my
it is.
dad only cussed a lot when he was working on the car and the car didn't work right.
Well, my dad cussed all the time. That's all I heard was, swear words. So, from the time I was a little kid. And, it's just part of who you are. And we get passionate about subjects and we just can't control ourselves. So, what you see is what you get. Everything that we do is unscripted. Crazy Bee lives in the South. I live in the North, and you just don't know what you're going to get. So,
It's all
that's,
fun.
yeah, it's all fun and games. And so, why don't you mention today's topic and then I'll tell this stupid story that happened with EJ that you thought was pretty funny.
Okay. Well, so today we're going to be talking about a link between Benadryl and dementia. And then we're going to talk a bit about some of the food ban industry of what like they're talking about RFK doing. And then I have a thing about the SNAP benefits in certain states taking things to a whole new level. So, and I'm hoping I'll have a friend who will be able to pop in on that one. I got to send the link
Oh,
and we can do that,
all right.
but because it's
Is
from her
that
state.
yeah, is that a possibility?
It's a possibility. I
Okay,
just don't
cool.
know.
Okay,
I can
cool.
send the link now and see when she finds it, and she can just pop in when she gets here.
Okay, cool. Um, so real quick, the babe, there's a 8-week-old baby that I will start taking care of full time on Tuesday. So I've been kind of in panic mode on Wrecked Sisters, and I do join Crazy B quite a bit on questions that need answers. So he went to get his shots on Friday, and I called Crazy B this morning to just go over the show notes, and I said, yeah, he got the rhinovirus today, and they told us not to kiss him for 48 hours because if we do, it's possible that we'll get vomiting and diarrhea. And she's like, what? She's like, what? The rhinovirus? She's like, Dee, that's a cold. What are you talking about? Diarrhea and vomiting. I said, well, that's what they said. I said, and to boot, uh, when my son left the office and got to the desk, he put the car seat on. The baby had his pacifier in his mouth. And as my son's checking out, the baby spit the pacifier out onto the floor. My son picks it up and sticks it in his mouth, takes it out, puts it in the baby's mouth, and the receptionist and the nurse start screaming at him. What did we tell you? You're going to get sick now. What is wrong with you? Crazy Bee's like, D, the rhino? What are you talking about, the rhinovirus? I said, all I know is, I said, do you remember like several months ago, people were down for like a month with the diarrhea and the vomiting and everything? And then she goes, and I know I forget how to pronounce it.
Rotavirus.
Yeah. Uh huh. So
Rhinovirus is basically
the
your
cold.
cold.
So we thought
And
that
I
was
was dying laughing.
we were cracking up that, he didn't even make it out of the office and he already, he was all bent out of shape because they were going away for the weekend. And he's like, now I'm going to be sick, throwing up and having diarrhea. And I said, buy a bottle of Pepto Bismol, you'll be okay. But
And I mean, the shot literally just got into his system. I highly doubt he
yeah,
was able to spread it
well,
right that quickly.
it
I
was a
mean, we're talking
liquid.
within 30 minutes.
Yeah, it's a liquid. It's not a
Oh,
shot.
the liquid
Yeah,
vaccine?
the liquid one. Yeah, that they put in their.
Oh, so it's an
Yeah.
oral vaccine.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's why I guess they say don't kiss. Oh, and then to boot.
Oh,
Oh,
that. Oh, yes, he could
yes.
get sick.
Okay, so then wait, I forgot the best part. So they told him to go in and wash his mouth out with water. Oh, what
He
did
takes it
he?
a step way too far.
Yes. he went way too far. Not only did he rinse his mouth out with water, but he took the pump jar of what the hell's it called? Crazy bee of hand sanitizer, pumped
Uh-huh.
it into his mouth and swished his mouth around. So when he called me, he's like hacking and gagging, going like blah blah blah. I'm like, "What is your problem?" He goes, "You're not going to believe what I did." And then I'm like, "Really? Seriously? Really?" Yeah. Uh-huh. So I think that that was funnier than him picking up the pacifier, was using the hand sanitizer to think that he could use it as a mouth rinse. Mhm.
Oh my god, no.
Yeah.
Faye is gonna be bouncing in,
Okay.
um, so we can, go through this and talk about these topics that are, like, absolutely insane.
Hey, Shoemaker, good to see you.
Hi, Shu. We have a genius. Yes.
Yeah, we
Your
do.
son is a genius.
I'm telling you, it was freaking funny as hell. Uh,
Oh, so,
all right.
um, yeah, wow.
Yep.
That's,
So,
I
like,
I don't think that's what's the best way to do it, but,
well, I
if it
guess
works, it worked.
maybe if you diluted it, maybe, with some water. I don't know, but
I
I guess.
mean, well, rubbing alcohol, swish it in your mouth and spit it out. Uh, "Mom, I ain't gonna wash your mouth out with soap," or, "Mom, I'm gonna wash your mouth out with soap. I'll blow bubbles out my ass." Old joke with mom. My parents did that too. I got the soap in my mouth.
So did I.
It didn't
Wait,
change a damn thing because here
no,
I am still cussing up a storm.
and you had to hold it in your mouth. That was the bitch,
Uh-huh.
right? Yep.
Yeah.
Mm.
Nowadays, that's considered child abuse because it's not an edible item, but you can use hot sauce.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, I got it, it was one of the many times my mother decided it was a great idea to call CPS because I wouldn't do what she wanted, and, so I asked them, "Okay, so how do you stop kids from, cussing? We used to do the soap in the mouth." She goes, "Oh, you can't do soap, but, go ahead with some nasty tasting food. Horseradish, hot sauce, it's edible."
Really?
Yep, I got smart, and I started asking what's within the legal realms of punishment. Well, they were there anyways, basically
Right.
laughing at my mom's stupidity, but,
Right.
yeah, they,
So,
most
so
definitely
here
said,
we go
"You
off
can use hot
topic.
sauce."
Here we go off topic. Did they consider like a swat on the butt or whatever child abuse?
As long as it's open hand and you don't leave any marks.
Okay.
You can swat your kid on the butt,
Mm.
yes. Yep.
Well, mine got swatted here and there when it was necessary to make a correction. But with Jacob, I told you I don't need to do that. All I have to dog turds, she said.
Nope.
Uh, all I have to do is now Jacob knows. He just goes and goes, Nini, I'm putting myself on the steps. I because that's where I
Uh-huh.
started to put punishment was you sit on the steps and think about what you did, and when you're done, you call me. And
Yeah.
that seems to work for really well for him. I mean, I've never had to lay a hand on that kid.
Art
Horseradish
said
should just be a breath mint.
for some people,
Yeah.
yes. Others,
Yep.
nope, it's not flying.
Uh
They
huh.
don't like it at all. Um, I used hot sauce on my kids when they got disrespectful or were out of line and wouldn't stop screaming. "Oh, you're gonna stand there and scream? Okay, well here, I got some hot sauce. Let me rub this on your tongue."
Oh, did they stop screaming?
It got better as they got older.
Yeah. Well,
Yes. But again,
yeah.
totally off the wall circumstances in my situation.
Right. I
And
got.
again, it's like all because I wouldn't cooperate and do exactly what my mom wanted the minute she wanted it.
Right. I hear
Mhm.
you. All right. Do you want to get started so we got enough time?
Oh yeah, let's pull this up. I know Faye's probably got to install a different browser. Um because of the system she uses. So
Mm.
it might take a minute. But here, let's get started on this. Texas Pete hot sauce. Hot or hot sauce. Yeah. I started off with Frank's red hot sauce until they started getting used to it, and then I would go for hotter.
There you go.
I generally like to bite. I like bit of food with my hot sauce or pepper.
There you go.
He drowns it.
Uh-huh. Well, first,
So
before we begin, we should do a let us pray today, since it is Sunday, that the two of us are going to be able to pronunciate words, have our, have have words come out of our mouth appropriately.
yeah, right.
Okay, so I'm going on, I don't know what, day 5 with only like 2 hours sleep each day.
Uh
So
huh.
yeah, that sleeping pill they gave me, I got 2.5 hours yesterday. Big whoop de doo, but okay.
Uh,
Anyway, I think it's
God
going
be
to be,
with us and pray over our souls and protect
please,
us from our own
please,
mouths.
after Friday, please, dear God, let us pronunciate. That's all we ask. Go
Yep.
ahead. You're up, girl.
And I'm not even saying that as a joking prayer. I
No,
legit am
yeah.
serious. God, please protect us from our own mouths and let our brains and mouth like
Or
coordinate.
because wait, because what I do? I pulled another
Oh
ins
yeah, Cucker
yeah,
Tarlson again.
yeah. I where that came from, I'm blaming you on. I go, yeah, we're gonna do. I have that thing I want you to do on Cucker Tarlson. That was this morning. She just busts out laughing, and I'm like, here we go. It's on.
It's a family curse. It rubs off on everybody.
Yes,
Anyone who's close to us that we
yes,
talk to all the time, it rubs off on you guys.
yes. So be
Don't know. I
prepared.
apologize. It's a family curse. I can't do anything about it.
Well, she passed it to me, and I'm passing it on to anybody that's in the chat. Just take it away, Calgon. Go.
All right. Well, this actually might explain some of our brain to mouth problems, actually. So there's been studies that are linking Benadryl to dementia. They're not confirmed yet, but long-term use of Benadryl, particularly where is it? Um, the generic brand. Oh no, I don't want to sign up. Go away. Um, where's the word? They don't have it
Difa.
in this article.
It's Difa. Hold on, my bottle's sitting right here. Do do do. It's
Diphenhydramine.
diphenhydramine. Yep, got it. 25 milligrams.
Diphenhydramine.
Yes, ma'am.
Um, s- so it's an anti-colon choliner, cholinergic
Okay, the show is over. Thank
anticholinergic
you, everybody, for joining us. We shall see you on Tuesday.
anticholinergic
There you go.
drug like Benadryl is linked to increased dementia risk. This is coming from Harvard, so I'm sure there might be some wokeness in here, but we'll find out. So, from the Journal of American Medicine, Internal Medicine several years ago highlighted, and we're talking back in like 2015, 2016 is
Correct.
when they started to get the link. And
Correct.
then the study was done in 2018, and now here we are. So it highlighted a link between long-term use of such medications like Benadryl and dementia. While the study and other observational studies have also found this association, it does not prove that the drug causes dementia. Again, correlation and causation are completely separate things. They may not mean that, just because it's there it causes it, but it's a link to pay attention to and to be cautious of, especially if you have a family history, of extensive family history of early onset dementia. And this is not medical advice. This is just information that I
Yes.
found interesting and I feel like passing on. And as you can see, we're using Harvard and I have NIH pulled up as well. Government websites, don't come at me. I'm just reading the articles.
Correct. We are not providing medical advice nor any other advice to anybody. We are just providing information that we have found as well as our own personal experience with these
Yes,
particular
because we've both been on
subjects.
it long term,
Yes, I've been on it since '05. High
and
dose.
I've been on and off since my childhood.
hmm And I was actually at the doctor's on Thursday when I brought up the study, and the doctor said, I believe that Benadryl should be a prescription drug now, given what the evidence is starting to show. Because
I
they've
agree.
because it's used for so many things. A lot of people use it to sleep every day, and look, I mean, I was worried, just from a memory perspective of what kind of damage has it done, and we shall see. That's all we can do.
Yeah. Um, okay, Faye just messaged me. She does got to go install a completely different browser
Okay.
because, EvMux is stubborn and doesn't like the one she's using.
Okay. Alrighty.
All right. So, but it says, but we do know that that big word I'm not going to keep repeating,
hmm
drugs can cause confusion and increased fall risks in older people.
I would like them
Interesting.
yeah, I'd like them to define the word older people. We
I
had
think they have
we
a
had
reason they're not
we
putting age
yeah,
limit on this.
yeah, we had this discussion earlier, so tread lightly.
I'm an older person compared to what I was 20 years ago. Does
Yeah,
that count?
this is
Any
true.
But these drugs have a tendency to block acetylcholine. The substance transmits messages in the nervous system and in the brain. Acetylcholine is involved in learning and memory. That explains a lot. Why we can't remember shit
You're right.
and why we can pronounce it right in our brain, but not out of our mouth.
Correct.
Um, in the rest of the body, it stimulates muscle contractions. Yeah, that word. Drugs include some antihistamines, tricyclic antidepressants, medications to control overactive bladder, and drugs to relieve symptoms of Parkinson's.
Mom, I have a question.
What, son?
Prohistamine when?
Oh, because you're not antihistamine, you're prohistamine. Okay. My son, it took me a
Prehistamine?
second.
Mom,
Shoot, Art says,
prehistamine.
I'm older now than I have ever been. That is
Uh,
true.
I'm older than I was 2 months ago.
Yes. And no, we're not prohistamine. Do you want to know why?
What's histamine?
The stuff that I'm allergic to.
What's that?
It's
okay.
my body's reaction to what I'm allergic to. So the
Art
histamines in
also
my body fight the allergies.
right. Art also said
So shouldn't you be
he had
prohistamine?
actually
Eh,
had
eh,
a Benadryl triggered a PTSD
If
episode a
histamine fights
couple of years
allergies,
back. Turned out that it isn't exactly unknown. It's on the don't take list for me now.
Yep. That's interesting. Oh, you know what? I wonder if that's been what's triggering a lot of my anxiety lately.
hmm?
Oh, that's possible,
I
maybe.
have a history of PTSD myself, have it mostly under control. I don't really need medicine for it. But I mean, yesterday and day before, I actually had to take a Klonopin because my anxiety was through the roof. No
Huh,
reason, but my allergies have been bad and I've been taking Benadryl more frequently
that's
Ah.
possible.
So maybe you should stop taking Benadryl.
and suffer.
Well, would you rather have dementia?
Yeah,
Oh my God.
right now, right
Here's
now,
my son.
yeah, right now you
Well,
would,
so hear
given
me
the
on this one. If histamines fight allergies, then shouldn't you be prohistamine?
Well, no, because my body's producing too much histamine and it's making it worse.
Oh.
That's why my eyes itch and swell, my nose starts running. It's from the histamine response to the pollens.
Mm.
That's why we're given antihistamines so we don't have the symptoms of the allergies.
Mom, so hear me out on this one.
We're hearing you out.
Shouldn't you be playing more like brain games to like offset the learning and memory dementia of the acetylchlorine, acetyl Cholinergic.
Anticholinergic.
What? No, I'm talking about the red one.
The red one is acetylcholine.
Acetylcholine.
That,
Whatever.
anyways, my son's getting a bit of a medical lesson.
But like the dating game that I was talking about, wouldn't that help offset the dementia?
Why do you think I play Sudoku and other games?
Well, that one has the Sudoku and other games.
Just quiet. We're going through this article now. Stop interrupting. I appreciate your input once in a while, but you're distracting from the whole article. And no, we're not promoting that brain age game thing.
Why? Sure, it's 20
Okay.
years old. But
All right. We've got Faye here. Let me bring her up. Whoops. Whoa, that is big.
that's your camera.
Hi, Faye.
Why is your camera active?
Okay.
Let me make you a circle. We have been chit chatting about Benadryl being linked to dementia and all that fun stuff.
Well, you just doxed your face, by the way.
Oh, that was her, not me.
Yeah, but that's just
Yeah. So, but yeah, we're when it comes to this Benadryl stuff, that's found everywhere in all kinds of medicines. It says women and men over the age of 65 were in the study, and there was 3,500 men and women aged 65 and older who took part in adult changes in thought act, a long-term study conducted at the University of Washington and Group Health, a Seattle healthcare system. They used the group's health, farm, the group's the group health's pharmacy records to determine all the drugs, both prescription and OTC, that
over
each
counter.
participant took the 10 years before starting the study. Well, we've been all been on Benadryl much longer than 10 years.
Right.
That explains my memory. 800 volunteers developed dementia. Wow. 800 of the 3,500?
Ooh, that's
That's
like
a
what?
it's a
10%?
significant number.
Is that like what? 10%?
It's right around 10%, yeah. When researchers examined the use of that big word, I'm not going to try to pronounce because my mouth isn't cooperating.
What big word?
This big
Anti.
anticholinergic,
Anti.
cholinergic.
Where's Faye at?
She's in the middle here.
Anti.
Her circle
Anti.
disappeared. There she is. Okay.
I forgot to hit transition, so now people can hear her.
Okay. There you go.
Benadryl brain. Oh, so these drugs, they found that people who used these drugs were more likely to have developed dementia as those who did not use them or didn't use them. Let me read it word for word. Moreover, dementia risk increased along with cumulative doses. Taking an anticholinergic
Cholinergic.
for equivalent of 3 years or more was associated to a 54% higher dementia risk than taking the same dose for 3 months or less.
Oh no.
Well,
Uh, okay, wait. Now I have some problems with those numbers.
okay.
First of all, if we don't know enough about the testing to know if this was the only thing that these people had in common. If the only thing you have in common is allergies, uh, okay, fine. But these 800 people, is it possible that they were also reacting to something in the environment that they're already allergic to? And it is the allergy, which we know causes swelling and breathing problems. And therefore, you're looking at a lack of oxygen to the brain. Could that be a part of this dementia? Is it just a correlation of they also happen to be taking these drugs? Is there any supporting evidence that this was the only thing involved in their dementia?
Private military club.
I am trying to pull up the NIH page. One second. Um, oh no, this is NIH National Library of Medicine with a PubMed article. Let me share this page. Um, and this is a long-term use of diphenhydramine diphenhydramine. Oh my lord! This one was, I believe, was done in 2018. And it's just saying that patients should check their information and speak with their doctor. Um, so
Yeah,
it's up for grabs if that was the only study or not,
right, because
and if it was the
this
only link.
actually this is antidepressants, antimuscarinics, and antihistamines, first generation antihistamines. So again, though that's two other classes
Hmm.
that's included. So you're talking about an antidepressant, and we know antidepressants mess with the chemicals in the brain. That's literally their job.
And that's why they're saying that this isn't confirmed that correlation is equals causation, but it's
Okay.
something to take into consideration.
Okay.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, okay. So I missed that part of this discussion because I was like, can you literally link this and say this is the only thing they had in common?
Yeah, no, they cannot link it directly, but it would explain a lot for a lot of people I know who've been on Benadryl and medications with the similar drug that have memory problems, like extensive memory problems.
I have extensive memory problems.
And my son chiming in.
Yeah, I
So,
heard him.
yep, but that's definitely one of the things. And then I know Dee, you sent this one over. Did you want to read this one since I read the
Uh,
last one?
is this the one from the we
Men's
went, yeah,
fitness.
specifically pulled this article for the men in the audience. Art made a comment, I believe. A new
Oh,
comment.
hold on. Let me pull it up.
Okay.
Every 6 hours for about 2 days, and poof, reliving the 80s. I never had a reason to take it more than once or twice, but allergies were killing me, so I was on it about a day when I got the episode.
Wow.
So Art can't take it because it triggered his PTSD.
Right.
Um, so yeah,
So
evidently.
right. So this article was just published, and this is for the men in the audience to pay attention. It was from the Men's Journal on May the 21st, and it's basically saying what Crazy Bee just went through. The popular allergy pill is linked to higher dementia risk. Now, originally, I had heard that this was affecting women more than men, so I'm not sure what that showed in the study, Crazy Bee. Was it equal
Mhm.
out of the 800, do you know, that
It
got
didn't
it?
say if it was an equal balance of men or women in that. And
Okay,
that's one thing I don't know. I'd have to go and dig the actual study up and read it in
gotcha,
full. If
gotcha.
anyone's up for that, I can do that in a whole separate episode and go over the whole study.
I'll pass.
I'm just putting it out there. If people want it,
I'm
drop
just
it in the
saying because I'm
comments.
not reading any of it. I'll tell you that the way we've been going.
So let
Maybe
me
we
scroll
should
to
have maybe we should have guest readers for us, right? And then we can comment on the way they read. So,
Faye, you want to give a try?
if you have ever reached for a quick fix for allergies, a cold, or a sleepless night, chances are you've taken diphenhydramine. It's the active ingredient in a well known over the counter meds like Benadryl, Tylenol PM, and many generic nighttime formulas. And I do want to make a comment about this. Uh, Things such as Benadryl and Tylenol PM, they're all brand names. They all contain this ingredient, diphenhydramine. That's all it is. And so you're paying for Tylenol. You get Tylenol, obviously. Uh,
Tylenol and Benadryl combined.
correct. But you're paying some big bucks for some of this money and some of these generics when pay attention to how you're spending your money for some of this stuff.
Hmm.
And that includes a lot of the allergy meds as well. They're now in generic form. But
Yep.
National Geographic reported that scientists say prolonged use could come with serious cognitive consequences. Diphenhydramine is one of the most widely used first generation antihistamines. It's been FDA approved since 1946 and remains a go-to remedy for everything from seasonal allergies to insomnia. But newer research warns that long term daily use may increase your risk for developing dementia or other neurodegenerative conditions. Taking diphenhydramine is not without risk, especially as the duration of use increases, says Dr. Say.
Sindher. Sindher.
Thank you. A
We're just gonna go
pediatric.
with the
Yep,
last name.
there we go. And if it worse comes to worse, we're going Dr. SS, a pediatrician and allergist at Stanford Healthcare. Alongside cognitive decline, extended use of the drug has been linked to weight gain, memory problems, and poor sleep quality. Some users also experience anxiety, confusion, or slower reaction times, even when taking recommended doses. Interesting, Crazy Bee.
Mm-hmm.
The problem isn't just the drug's pharmacology, but also its pervasiveness. Diphenhydramine shows up in everything from allergy meds and sleep aids to cold and flu treatments, often without users realizing how much they're taking. It's one of the most commonly abused medications in the United States, said
And
Cinder.
I want to chime in on this. There's actually been a thing going around, and it's big on Reddit, where people will intentionally take massive doses to hallucinate. And I'm talking in the grams, not milligrams.
I want to chime in on that because that right there, um, because it shows up in everything from allergy meds to sleep aids to cold and flu treatments. Okay, so you've got a stuffy nose, you feel like crap, so you take some Benadryl. Well, that's not really doing it. So okay, well maybe it wasn't allergies. I'll go take some cold medicine. Now you've doubled up on the dose and not
Yep,
even
Yep.
realized it.
exactly.
Yep.
So when you go to the store for all of this, you need to pay attention to what the ingredients are, because a lot of them, even for things, I can't remember the generic name right now for Sudafed.
Yep.
That
Epinephrine.
Yes, that shows up in multiple crossovers in these types of medications as well. So you need to pay
Yes.
attention. Um, and again, look at the cost price. Um, one recommendation that my doctor has given me was two different options. One's prescription, one is Xyzal, which finally has come out in
I
generic
am on
form.
Zyzel.
But I also heard from somebody that you can get it as a prescription. So I'm going to have to check into that to see if that is legit or not. Uh,
It used to be prescription only, but I get mine over the counter now. I go to Amazon, buy it bulk for like half the price than the
right,
generic,
Mhm.
and my life is so much better. I can
right.
breathe a little.
I just bought it, so I've never used it before. We're going to give it a go and see what happens.
It's
Uh,
my go-to because it doesn't cause the drowsiness the way the other ones do,
right.
at least for me.
Yeah, I never used the Benadryl for sleep, though. I used it for another medical condition. And it was I was instructed to use it. And
Mhm.
because all of the medications, other than Benadryl, um, did not work for me, Benadryl has always been the go to. And so when desperate times call for desperate measures, I take it up to every 4 hours instead of every
Mhm.
six.
Mhm.
But I never get the sleepiness or anything. And when you told me about the study, I was like, okay, does this explain some of this memory stuff that I'm having difficulty with? And uh,
But
fortunately,
this is also a point where you can't exactly quit the Benadryl.
well, I have. I'm not taking it at all.
Well,
So, other than if
but
I
some people
really
like
need it.
me, I
Right.
need the Benadryl when I'm having a serious
Exactly.
outburst, like flare up of allergies. And again, I risk my kidneys doing this. I don't suggest anyone else does it, but
Hmm.
I take Zyzil at night and I will take Benadryl twice during the day
Right.
because of the itching skin, and my skin will itch like till I'm peeling my skin off with my nails. It's
Yeah.
bad. And so I will risk my kidneys during this time, but
Right.
that's my
I
choice.
Hmm.
this this cognitive thing actually kind of disturbs me because, um, you both know me, and you know that I have
Mhm.
been dealing with brain fog for the last couple of years, and it's been laid off on my autoimmune disorder. However, and I was just literally sitting here thinking about this. B, you know what my hospital experience has been just in the
Yep.
last 2 okay, I have had 6 CTs. I'm allergic to contrast, which means every single time they have given me a massive dose of Benadryl
Mm,
IV and steroids to keep me from going into
Yep.
anaphylaxis. But
yes.
I have to have it. So how much damage are they doing to me to treat?
Every time.
Yeah,
Yeah, potentially every time, right.
yeah.
Well, the test would be is to fortunately, I've had, 3, memory tests, so that has been ruled out. It's, in my case, lack of sleep and, uh, just trying to accomplish too much and not resting well enough given
Mhm.
how sick I am. So, but that's not to say though that who knows, for all we know there could be a correlation and we don't know it quite yet, right?
Yeah.
Right.
There's all I know is I've passed all of the memory testing. And I mean, I had this discussion with them on Thursday because I'm like, I'm doing this podcast. I can't get my words out. I'm looking at stuff on the screen. I can't talk. I'm saying shit like Cucker Tarlson and, you know, the
It's
filing
I still
cabinet.
can't
Yeah,
get
regurgitation.
over Cucker
yeah,
Tarlson. I'm sorry. I laugh every
yeah.
time.
The filing cabinets open up in there and I can't get it out. You know what I mean? And
I do.
Mhm.
the things are just not like flowing. And, we did discuss, as you age, things are going to happen. There will be changes. And I'm like, yeah, I realize that, but I feel like things are significant and why are they? And that's, like I said, I've been testing probably for the past year because I've been concerned. And,
And see, I'm at, and sorry guys, most of you are older and you understand this with women.
right,
I'm at the premenopause. Already started. Hot flashes and all that nonsense is going on, hair loss. It's happening. And that's another time where memory loss is often exhibited.
yeah,
And it's because of the hormonal change and everything. So again, uh, how much of mine is a combination of natural and the Benadryl use? Is the
right,
Benadryl use exacerbating it?
right.
I
And
don't
then
know.
on the and then realize the same thing occurs for men because they
Mhm.
have those, and again, we are not diagnosing anybody.
We're talking what has been studied over time, and we're not giving medical advice.
Correct. They have testosterone drops,
Yep.
they're using, and as they age, they have their issues. And if they are taking Benadryl, who knows what the correlation is related to potential dementia as well. I mean, this from what I've seen, if this is truly the case, and as I told you earlier, my doctor said to me they felt that Benadryl should now be prescribed. And if that's
Yep.
true, then why isn't further studies being done?
And I think there is further studies being done, and they just haven't been published yet.
Right. And Art says some of
Um,
the confusion is due to age, agree. Some is due to meds, agree. And some is due to lifestyle, agree. It sucks. It's also hard to pin it down too. Agreed with all of the above.
that's what we go through
Right.
constantly,
And so,
especially when you have a bunch of compiled health problems like all three of us have.
right. And so we were discussing whether or not, how about we just stop taking all of the meds and we'll go au natural with vodka, right?
I've
Well,
Anyway,
see,
considered
that might
that.
help with some things, but it might exacerbate others.
you know what? Out of all the shit that I take, I have no liver problems. That's what's so funny. Knock on wood. Here, let me knock on some wood. All right, so let's get down to according to the Consumer Healthcare Products Association, these medications are not intended for long term use. Oh, that's interesting. Does it say? I'll have to look on my bottle. And responsible dosing is critical. But for millions of Americans dealing with chronic symptoms, dipping into the medicine cabinet becomes routine, and that's where the risk creeps in. Uh, Earlier this week, the World Allergy Organization Journal declared that diphenhydramine is at the end of its life cycle. It suggested that the drug no longer be available over the counter. Get out of here. That's where they are getting it from, then. Wow. With safer non sedating antihistamines now widely available, doctors suggest reconsidering what's in your daily rotation because when it comes to brain health, long term convenience may not be worth the cost. Huh. Okay,
Art
so
says, well, the bourbon may not help at high enough doses. I can't say you won't really care.
go back up a little bit, Crazy Bee. What did that say that it supposedly says on the bottle? Go back.
I actually just grabbed
That is not
mine,
for long-term use. And I know I've got a bottle of Benadryl sitting right next to me
I
too, but
have
no
mine in my
lights.
hand. I have the Walmart brand. Um,
I need a light. It's dark. Oh, we got a thunderstorm. Thunder just rolled.
and I
Um,
actually do not see that anywhere in my warnings. I'm looking now.
nope, none at it's not on mine.
Hang on a second. Let me. All right, let's see if we can get my camera to play nice here.
Nope,
yeah, it does not say on mine either. It says temporarily relieves these symptoms.
correct.
It does not say anything about it says to contact your doctor, ask your doctor if you have glaucoma, trouble urinating due to an enlarged prostate gland, breathing problems such as emphysema or chronic bronchitis.
What brand is that?
Some off-brand Gen Care generic healthcare
Okay.
diphenhydramine.
Yeah,
Okay.
Diphenhydramine, sorry.
mine's from
B.
Walmart. 25 milligrams. Uh, Temporarily relieves runny nose, sneezing, itching, watery eyes. Blah blah. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. Hold on. Warnings. See carton for complete warnings. That's where it's at.
And mine's completely on the bottle. It says take every 4 to 6 hours as directed. Do not take more than 6 times in a 24-hour period, and not to give it to children under 6.
I'm gonna see if I can pull it up on the in the store and see if it's on the
Oh, it
store.
comes with calcium.
Oh,
Hey,
that's
mine's got 24 milligrams of calcium.
there you go. Faye, what do you got?
Inactive ingredients.
This is the actual box. This is the Equate brand,
Is that
25 milligram.
okay?
Mhm.
Does it say it on there, Faye?
No,
So you
and
got the
that
same
I'm
one
not
I did.
surprised.
Yeah, you got how many pills you got? I got 100.
this is just one. This is I think 24
Okay.
capsules. It was just a
Quick grab because you needed it.
Yep.
yeah.
It's supposed to be put on the box.
Right. That's what they're saying. The complete.
Is
Yeah.
Well, actually, it says just according that these medications are not intended for long-term use. It doesn't say that it was supposed to be on the box, and it should be, in my opinion. Like, they had to start putting that on the heartburn medicines, like Prilosec and all that, because there was a link to stomach cancer to one of them,
You know,
and you're not supposed to take it for more than 2 weeks. And if your problems persist, to speak to a doctor. But I've known doctors to write those medications for years on end for patients before we knew there was a link to cancer.
Okay. So on the box it says mark drowsiness, avoid alcohol, Alcohol, sedatives, tranquilizers may increase drowsiness. Be careful when driving a motor vehicle or operating machinery. Excitability may occur, especially in children. Then, if you're pregnant, and keep out of reach of children. So it does not say anything about long-term use.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
And this is something else. Let me turn my camera back on.
But you know what they do, which cracks me up? They have a quarter there,
Oh, that's
and
the
then,
Kirkland.
yeah,
Yeah, okay.
they have a quarter, and then they have the pill underneath it. Yeah, okay. Explain that.
Okay, so that's the Kirkland brand.
Mhm.
Okay.
And it literally says not
I
to take
can't read it.
more than 1 a day.
Really?
Really?
That's what, 10 milligrams? That's only
Mhm.
10? Wow.
Which medication was that again?
It's Loratadine, so it is.
Oh, Claritin.
Mhm. Yeah, it's Loratadine.
It's the generic for Claritin.
Mhm.
Yep, Claritin is only supposed to be once a day, anyways. I've had doctors prescribe it me to take it twice a day, but it was under doctor supervision.
Right.
I
I'm
wouldn't suggest doing it on your own.
No, my doctor has me on it twice a day. So I do understand that.
Yeah.
But I think it's interesting that that literally
Literally
says
says.
not to take more than 1 a day, and the Benadryl or the, generic dihydramine, 25 milligrams, does not carry the same warning.
It just says not to take more than 6 because you can take up to that.
Well,
That's
and
the,
here's the thing,
lowest, safe dosage.
the directions on mine says adults and children 12 years or older, 1 or 2 capsules, do not take more than 6 doses in 24 hours. That's 24 capsules that you could take according to this. That I could take this
Yeah,
entire box in 24 hours.
yeah,
Okay,
and
so
that's the lowest safe minimum dosage
Mhm.
that they put on those boxes.
I also
Art
okay,
says we get prescribed. Oh, I was going to read this really
go
quick.
ahead. Go
He
ahead.
says we get prescribed a lot of stuff for much longer than it was ever intended to be used because the drugs are supposed to be safe. It's kind of off label at that point, and
Yeah.
that's what it is with Lipitor. You're only supposed to take that for 2 months.
Hmm.
Lipitor.
Oh, I take so many
People have
drugs
been on
that
it
are off
forever.
late. Yeah, that are off label for stuff that it's crazy.
Hmm.
So I have
My
a
kids too.
yeah, I have a script called hydroxyzine. The brand name is Atarax or Vistaril, and it's an
Mhm.
antihistamine med that's used to treat itchiness. It can be used for anxiety, insomnia, nausea,
Uh
allergies.
huh.
It can be used by mouth, or it also comes by an injectable into the muscle. So if you have severe allergies, that is. Now, what's interesting about this, which I would now question, is it is a first generation antihistamine. So it's in that same thing as a
They give it to my
Benadryl.
daughter for her anxiety.
Oh, really? Mm. But
My
you know,
daughter's on that for her anxiety.
what's funny is it doesn't work for me for allergies. That's what cracks me. That's why I go back to, if I really need it, I take the Benadryl. But so now we're going to try this Zyzol and see if that works.
I swear by Zyzol, except when my allergies are at their max,
Yeah.
I have to supplement the Benadryl. But again, that was told to be done by a doctor years ago. It's only temporary. I'm
And they
not suggesting other people do it for the
right.
sake of YouTube.
and and I only think mine got crazy because I have both of the rat cats. So I have the street cats, and um, I just think that I everything just went crazy. So either that, or it's a
Hmm.
medication that I potentially could be allergic to that's causing it. Who knows? But I mean, at this point, I said, you know what? I'm willing to risk either Benadryl or alcohol. I mean, how, you know what I mean? get me to 100 and we'll be happy, you know? If it takes 20 to 40 years to get, to where I don't know what the hell's going on, oh well, I guess.
Yep.
I'll be like what's her face and from in the nursing home screaming.
Oh, that was sad. That
Yeah,
was so sad.
yeah, it was.
Uh, since we're at the 1 hour mark, we're gonna jump to the next topic,
You got
and yeah, this is the we're gonna do the quick video, and then we're going to go through with the facts.
okay.
Let me back this up to the beginning. Oh, it's 11 minutes. Ooh, we might do the whole video. We'll
Okay.
probably do partial. The link to the full video is in the description.
Okay.
This is foods that are supposed to be banned by RFK Jr.
I'll be sharing with you the 36 foods and the foods that are about to get banned. This is a full-scale overhaul on our entire food system. As Secretary of Health and Human Services, RFK Jr. launched a campaign called Make America Healthy Again. And one of the first targets are synthetic foods and food dyes. These are already banned in Europe. He's asking the tough question, why are these toxic chemicals still in our food supply when other countries have removed them years ago? Let's take a look at what already has been banned and what's being phased out by the end of 2026. Here are the 9 additives that are either officially banned or being phased out under Kennedy's leadership. Number 1, we have red dye number 3. Then we have citrus red number 2, orange B, red 40, yellow 5, yellow 6, blue 1, blue 2, and green 3. Now that list.
Those are the most common food dyes used. I don't know if anyone knows that.
Yeah.
They're in red 40 is in everything.
Right. I'm gonna wait till the video's over. Yeah.
Okay.
List probably doesn't mean much to you, but I'll show you the 36 foods you'll find those ingredients in. These synthetic dyes have been linked to everything from hyperactivity in children to potential carcinogenic effects, which is cancer-causing effects. And they're hiding in foods you see every single day. So which everyday foods that you're probably consuming contain these banned dyes? Here's a list of the most common offenders. Let's start with red 3 and red 40. You're gonna find this in Skittles, Lucky Charms, Pop-Tarts, which are the strawberry and the cherry variety, fruit roll-ups, red Gatorade, Jello, and maraschino cherries. Then we have yellow 5 and yellow 6, which you'll find in the following foods: Cheetos, Doritos, Kraft mac and cheese, Mountain Dew, Fruit Loops, Twinkies, and instant ramen seasoning. Then we have blue 1 and blue 2, which you'll find in the following foods: Gatorade Frost, blue M&Ms, Kool-Aid, Ice Pops, and Ring Pops. Then we have green 3, which you'll find in mint gum, lime jello, green popsicles, frosted cookies, and cupcakes. Then we have citrus red number 2, which you'll find in Florida oranges, the dyed peel. Then we have orange B, which you'll find in hot dog casings. Now, these aren't just obscure products. These are found in kids' lunchboxes, gas station shelves, and school cafeterias. That's why RFK is saying enough is enough. Now, let's talk about what's going to be banned next. These ingredients are currently under review or marked for future bans. We have titanium dioxide, which you're going to find in skim milk, chewing gum, especially from Trident, frosted donuts, coffee creamers, and store-bought salad dressings. Then we have brominated vegetable oil, BVO, on the chopping block, found in Mountain Dew, Fanta Citrus, older Gatorade formulas, and Citrus Fresca. Then we have potassium bromate, found in store-bought breads and buns, frozen pizza dough, and commercial bagels. Next, we have propylene paraben, found in packaged tortillas, low-fat snack cakes, cake frostings, and shelf-stable desserts. Then we have glyphosate, which is also called Roundup, found on wheat products, oats, soy, and corn. Even a lot of coffee contains Roundup. RFK wants it banned due to cancer risk. Next, we have high fructose corn syrup. Now, before I list those foods, I talk a lot about high fructose corn syrup in chapter 4 of my brand new book, Metabolic Freedom, where I discuss processed foods. High fructose corn syrup is mitochondrial poison. Your mitochondria are these energy batteries within your cells that help you produce energy, which helps you have energy, and they help you burn fat. As a matter of fact, so many diseases are linked to poor mitochondrial health. I could list them all for you. I'll list a few right now: ADD, ADHD, cancer, heart disease, diabetes. We also have autoimmune conditions, thyroid conditions. It's linked to poor mitochondrial health. When you consume high fructose corn syrup, it poisons your mitochondria, and it leads to fatty liver disease. There's an epidemic of non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, not only in adults, but unfortunately also in children. 90% of high fructose corn syrup is processed by your liver. And when you overload it with high fructose corn syrup, this very important fat-burning detoxification organ, the liver, can't burn fat, can't detoxify, leaving you feeling inflamed, causing weight gain and weight loss resistance, and a buildup of toxins. So here's where you're going to find high fructose corn syrup: soda, barbecue sauce, ketchup, candy bars, and snack cakes. Then we have my favorite category to talk about, and I hope this definitely gets banned, and that's going to be seed oils, also called vegetable oils. In chapter 4 of Metabolic Freedom, I talk about seed oils and how they are also mitochondrial poison. They create something called oxidative stress. I want you to think about this. If you bit into an apple and you left your apple apple on your kitchen counter for hours. You came back and looked at that apple. What are you going to see? The part where you bit is going to turn brown. You probably see this when avocados go bad, bananas go bad. This is oxidative stress. When you consume vegetable oils, seed oils, this is happening. This browning effect is happening to all 70 trillion of your cells. There's a study I published in Metabolic Freedom from Dr. Martin Grudfeld that analyzed French fries that were fried in seed oils. And it showed essentially that one French fry consumed that was cooked in seed oils is equivalent to one tobacco cigarette smoked. When they looked.
Okay, wait. I'm confused. Seed oils? How does a cigarette correlate with seed oils?
The carcinogen effects, seed oils are not meant to be consumed. The ones that we're currently eating are not meant to be consumed by people. If you do a little bit of research, do you know where the original vegetable oil, what it was original use was?
It was used for machinery in
Mhm.
Canada.
Right. We can't digest it, and therefore our body oxidizes it and it harms us. But we're using it every day.
Okay,
Right,
so it's just as dangerous as smoking a cigarette a day.
right.
Yes.
Okay,
Especially,
that's where I was a little
yeah,
confused. Even when
yeah.
editing, this kind of racked my brain a minute.
Yeah, they didn't make it clear, but having done a little bit of research on it, that's where they're coming up with that statistic. I wish it was more clear in
Okay.
this video because it's very misleading.
Yeah, and that's where we also have articles that are going to clarify a little bit more on all of this. So, okay. Let's go through. I know this is a longer video, and I have this at 1.5 speed, just so everyone knows. It was
And,
originally like a 20-minute video.
and I agree, Art. The evidence that they're presenting isn't the best. Art had
Um,
commented, I'm not saying some of this stuff is good, but I'm also not sure some of this has the best evidence behind it.
yes. And name a naturally occurring blue food. See the problem. Yeah. Blueberries is about it. Yeah. All right, let's get through the next couple minutes before I get in trouble for copyright infringements and all that stuff. We got to break this up every 3 or so minutes.
That the aldehydes that are produced. Aldehydes are cancer causing. And it's not only that, there's a process called lipid membrane reorganization, meaning when you consume seed oils, within hours, those seed oils embed into your cells. It happens in hours. And those fats, these bad fats, stay in your cells for years. The half-life of these seed oils are 680 days, meaning when you stop eating them,
Holy
2 years later,
shit.
half of them will remain in your body, creating chronic inflammation. I'll give you a list of these 8 seed oils, and then I'll give you a list of the foods commonly found with these seed oils. So here's the list. Write these down. Hopefully they'll be banned, but right now you got to identify them and not consume them. We have canola oil, corn oil, and cottonseed oil. Then we have sunflower oil, soybean oil, and safflower oil. Then we have rice bran oil and grapeseed oil. Dr. Kate Shanahan, author of Deep Nutrition and Dark Calories, calls these the hateful 8. You're going to find them in packaged foods. They're actually in 80% of our food supply.
My bad.
This is nuts, but the American Heart Association puts their stamp of approval on these seed oils. You're going to find them in chips, crackers, salad dressings, and of course, anything fried in restaurants will contain them. So hopefully they get banned. But in the meantime, what I do when I go to restaurants is I tell the server I'm allergic to seed oils. I actually use my seed oil allergy card where it says, "Dear chef, I have food allergies to the following oils." And it lists those oils I just stated, the grapeseed, the canola, the soybean. Can you use the following alternatives that are safe? That's going to be avocado oil, olive oil, butter, ghee, coconut oil. Even lard and duck fat are safer options. And you can get the seed oil allergy card for free by going to seedoilcard.com or clicking the link in the notes.
I don't like that they provide an allergy card that's illegitimate and not a doctor's. I get they want an excuse to back this up without having to fight with the staff, but I don't like that you could just print off an allergy card. I
Right.
don't like that.
And I
That
would like,
bugs me.
yeah, I'd like to comment back to Mr. Art in the comments. Blueberries are purple, red and blue make purple.
That's true. Natural red and
Mhm.
natural blue
And
in the
I know
proper
that from my
combination.
Sesame Street days with Jacob. Mhm.
That's true. It is the basic colors, the color wheel.
So
I remember
blue,
those primary colors and whatever.
So I'm going for blueberries are blue. So
Well,
depends.
and I want to point out that certain fungi, so blue cheese is literally has a blue mold in it, which is a natural food and it is safe to eat. Therefore, it
What about
qualifies.
blue pine trees?
I don't know if we want to eat pine tree.
Okay. You
I,
never.
I, I use their cones to throw at people, especially when they're green.
This is true.
Sorry.
Anyway, I digress. Go ahead. I'm just giving them a hard time. If we can't give the chat a
I
hard,
know.
who can we give a hard time to?
And it's our little comedy relief during
Yeah.
such intense topics.
Yep.
Okay, but yeah, I don't like the idea of printing off a full fake allergy card just to get the staff at a restaurant to do things easier. No, and
Well,
some of
I would
those
always.
restaurants don't have
Yeah.
anything but that stuff.
Right. And I'd be concerned what they would do to my specialty food items. So, yeah.
Oh yeah, at that point.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's hit play. Oh wait, okay, I'll concede the blue cheese. LOL.
Oh, but you're not conceding to to the blueberries?
Or the
Okay,
blue
Mark.
pine. I think.
Okay.
All right.
Notes down below. Then we have ultra processed foods called UPFs. Kennedy says these ultra processed foods are a form of genocide, especially in Native American communities. He wants to ban them from government programs and school lunches. Now, I know, as soon as I brought up RFK and Maha, many of you watching and listening have been turned off. You probably aren't even watching and listening anymore because everything is political and polarized these days. It is unfortunate, and there's a lot of pushback, but this matters. We live in a country, the United States, which is the wealthiest country in the entire world. Yet, we rank 37 in the world in terms of health. There are third world countries that are doing better than us. In the US alone, and I talk about this in Metabolic Freedom, we spend $4.6 trillion every year on healthcare. That would be the fourth largest GDP in the world if it was a GDP. Yet we are sicker than ever before, and pharmaceutical companies are richer than ever before. And what's interesting about that $4.6 trillion that we spend every year, one out of every $4 is spent on diabetes, primarily type 2 diabetes, which is a metabolic disease that is 100% preventable and 100% reversible. Something's got to change. And if that means it's RFK and Maha, I am with it. You should be with it too. You see, our body and our cells don't see red, don't see blue. They see health. They seek health. They want health. And if this is the change that's going to make it happen, I'm all for it. I know it's controversial and you might be put off right now, but it's needed. And these bans might raise food prices. That's something to consider. Some say the data is inconclusive on these additives, and some say it may open the door for overregulation. All of that may be true, possibly, but we know we live in a sick nation. I used to say the system is broken. The healthcare system is broken. I no longer say that. It's designed exactly, and it's functioning exactly the way that it was designed. It's a cash cow. It's a subscription model. It is a brilliant subscription model. Think about this. You go to your convenience store, your grocery store, your gas station. The food in the inner aisles at the front of the store contain all of these ingredients, all of these foods I mentioned in today's lesson. It's cheap, it's available, it's convenient, and we eat it as Americans. Then we get symptoms. We get inflamed, that leads to symptoms. And the average person goes to their doctor, makes an appointment because they have symptoms. Maybe it's brain fog, maybe it's high blood pressure, maybe it's high blood sugar levels, or maybe they just keep gaining weight. And the standard doctor will not ask the question, what are you eating? Are you eating these inflammatory foods? Let's talk about your lifestyle. No, that doctor is not asking that or thinking that. The doctor is going to think, what can I prescribe for you? And they'll prescribe that medication for the acid reflux. Maybe it's an antacid, maybe something for constipation or diarrhea, maybe something for your high blood pressure. And they'll tell you to go back to that convenience store. But now, instead of coming to the front of the store, go to the back, to the pharmacy, and pick up your medication. You see how this works. The person is hooked. It's a subscription model. Look, I know this. Europe, Italy, for example. I talk about Italy and metabolic freedom. The average lifespan in Italy is longer than us in the US. They also have less obesity, less disease, and less diabetes. Do they work out more in Italy? Are there more gyms in Italy? Nope. There's a fraction of the gyms in Italy that we have in the US. Do they walk more? Yeah, they probably walk more. Do they have more community? Yeah, they probably have more community. But you know what Italy did that we have not done yet until right now? Italy in 2016 has banned a lot of these chemicals I outlined in today's lesson. Now it's time for the US to ban them as well. When you go to the supermarket and you buy a whole food, there are no ingredients. The potato, the avocado.
Yep.
Okay, I want to point something out. You know that my husband works in food manufacturing, right?
Yes.
Okay, so the minute that RFK said, look, we think there's a problem with these dyes and these oils, his company, which you know which company, and it's a
Yep.
huge one, started bringing in alternatives, and they are doing experiments right now. Long before RFK said, let's ban these, he said, there's a problem. And the company went, okay, if this is a problem, what can we do to fix it? Right?
Yep.
Okay. So there are a lot of companies right now that are doing that. They are seeking alternatives. If they are told there's an issue, they are voluntarily trying to fix it. If you don't know something is a problem, you can't be blamed when it is a problem.
But that's
Yeah.
interesting, Faye, because the research that I've been looking into is saying the opposite, that just what he's saying, where companies are given pushback
Mm-mm.
because of profitability and
I
uh,
can't speak for every company, but
right. I
the
understand that,
yeah,
but
but this particular company, which, um, I can't
I understand. We understand that.
okay.
But yeah, we recognize that there are companies that are on the up and up and do what is right. But it's the same thing as the pharmaceutical companies that we've been discussing as well. That know, for example, with the Benadryl issue,
Mhm.
is it a problem or isn't it? And are they just continuing to make us sicker and sicker and have you coming back for drug after drug? I told you, I'm spending $7,000 a year out of pocket on medication to keep myself alive. That is the bare minimum.
I've spent 8,000 since January, and
Uh-huh.
that's just on medicine, so I do
Uh-oh.
understand.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And
Oh,
it's you know nobody in the food industry wants to delete their customers. It's kind of self-defeating to do that. Agreed. I do know that there had been discussions that if this is to occur, like I think we get into it a little bit later, Crazy B, but we might as well bring it up, where if these types of bans, because these foods are cheap made, and a lot of this is sold in places like the dollar store, the Dollar
Mhm.
Tree, Dollar General, Family Dollar, that are located in poorer communities. That this is the food that they're eating. They don't have access to fresh food, and if they do, they can't
yep.
afford it. So
Amen.
what is going to happen when these sugary cereals or dyed cereals disappear off the shelf? And does your kid want to go back to eating the regular yellow box of Cheerios that we grew up on? I don't know. I mean,
Here's the thing, I don't think they're gonna remove these products completely, I think they're
right,
just gonna
if they
change the
make the dye.
formulas in
Yeah,
the cooking.
correct.
Yeah.
But I mean, take a look at, well, we haven't even discussed, we didn't even entertain what's going on in places like a McDonald's, Wendy's, Burger King, Arby's, and the way those
Mhm.
products, the oils have been changed to be made cheaper. So the French fries are made cheaper, and the oils that they're cooked in, and the hamburgers. I mean, there's a whole list. I believe it's something like I'd have to look it up. There's like 100 ingredients or something. Before I say anything, you go ahead and hit play, and I'll come back and tell you how many ingredients are in a hamburger bun at McDonald's.
Oh god, yeah, that's insane.
Yes, it is.
We'll hit play while you're looking
Go
that
ahead.
up and go from there.
Okay.
The banana, the beef, there are no ingredients. But when you buy a potato chip, there are 20, 30 ingredients. A lot of the ingredients I mentioned here. So in the meantime, until these bans come through, eat single ingredient food. If you cannot pronounce an ingredient, if you see a long list of ingredients, these are frankenfoods. And human beings are the only species smart enough to actually create their own food and dumb enough to actually eat that food. These are food like substances. These are frankenfoods. This is the biggest, boldest food policy shift that we've seen in my lifetime, and I think it's just the beginning. Whether you agree with RFK Jr. or not, there's no denying this. What we eat affects how we feel, how we age, and how long we live. So before I get to your questions, I want to know where your thoughts are for those watching on YouTube. Where do you stand here? Are you for this movement? Do you hate it? Do you hate Trump? Do you hate RFK? Share your thoughts. Is my favorite brand going to be pulled off the shelves? Gatorade, Doritos, Lucky Charms, or will they change the ingredients? They're probably just going to change the ingredients. But look, I'll give you some healthier options. Instead of the Gatorade, the diet soda, swap over to like Zevia or sparkling flavored water, Spindrift.
Okay, but here's the thing about sparkling water, it doesn't contain the electrolytes that Gatorade. They need and you can get electrolyte water with, like, Smart Water. It's literally
Right.
just water with electrolytes added.
Correct.
You don't have to have Gatorade. I
Right.
mean, hell, I got coconut water powder. That's a natural electrolytes. And I just mix it in with my regular water. It's literally just electrolyte water, natural raspberry, natural lemon flavoring, and it is strong. Like I use a fraction of the recommended serving because it is such a strong flavor because it's natural. It's not that chemically tasting crap. So again, there are alternatives out there. People just choose to go for the sweeter flavor.
Mm-hmm.
And Gatorade is really, it does more harm for you than just drinking electrolyte water.
Right. Just real quick, the first thing that popped for me was their how many ingredients are in their French fries, which should be what? Potatoes and oil,
Potatoes.
correct? Well,
No.
Yep.
there are 19
It,
ingredients in
Yeah,
their French
that's
fries.
no, I'm gonna tell you right now, having been in the food
it should just
industry,
be potato.
that no. No, because you have to treat that potato when you bring it in. So that actually counts as an ingredient when you clean it with baking soda, which you do. Then you steam it. It is then put through processing to keep it from browning. That's usually some type of citric acid. There's yet another ingredient. Then you have to treat it with I'm trying to remember the name of it. It's a stabilizer so that when you freeze it, it does not go mushy. This is things that people are not taking into account unless you are doing them on site. If you are buying frozen potatoes, and salt, by the way, is an ingredient because they will pre-treat them with salt to draw out some moisture. Those are all considered ingredients. Calcium is an ingredient, and it's all necessary if you're going to freeze these foods and ship them out. And there's an
Really?
anti-caking yes,
I
there's
didn't know this.
an anti-caking agent, which has to go into the mix. It's part of the premix so that the potatoes don't freeze. If you've ever worked fast foods, you know that you open up a bag of potatoes and they're not clumped, they're not frozen together, they are separate. There is an anti-caking in there and an anti-freeze in there. Those are also ingredients. Those all have to be counted as ingredients. So, yeah, you're going to get a potato that has 15 or 20 things on it because you want the convenience of freezing it and shipping it.
Okay, that makes some sense. So in the hamburg, now they don't count them. I don't have a count, but uh, the names in just a bun. They listed as an allergen ingredient wheat flour, which
Mhm,
contains calcium carbonate, iron, niacin, thiamine, water, sugar, rapeseed oil, salt, yeast. Another allergen ingredient, wheat fiber, emulsifier, mono and dicycling tartsite
mhm,
acid, esters of mono and
mhm,
diglycerice of fatty acids, antioxidants, ascorbic acid,
mhm.
and that's just the buns.
Yeah,
That.
and that there's nothing really there.
Mhm.
And that's the thing. Most Americans have no idea what those words that you just read mean.
Mhm.
I can tell you what about
Yep.
90% of them are. Ascorbic acid, that's citric acid. It is literally to it is the same as vitamin C, right? It is to stabilize it. Emulsifier, that just means an oil. Um, the
Mhm.
there are 8 big allergens recognized in the United States. So your wheat is one of them because it's a gluten. Monosodium glutamate, MSG, it is literally a salt. Yeast, you know what yeast is. That's what I'm saying. People
Mhm.
don't know what those words actually mean, and they're not. Most of those things you're gonna find in your own kitchen. Most of those things you're gonna find in a bag of flour, right? Uh,
Yeah.
and that's just it. They have terrified us to the point yes, I am all for reading ingredients, but know what you're reading. Don't just look at it and go, "Oh my god, it's got 10 syllables. It must be bad." Not necessarily. Know what those 10 syllables mean.
Well,
Understand that
then why is RFK saying that there's an issue with McDonald's?
the problem with
Because
McDonald's, quite frankly, isn't the buns. It is what they have done to, preserve the food. Some of those things are not good. Another thing that they did is does anybody besides me remember when McDonald's fried their stuff in, beef
Yes,
tallow?
correct.
Okay,
Then they
that
changed it, right?
yes, because of so-called trans, the trans fats, right?
Right.
Except what they
yeah.
switched to is more dangerous for your body than the original.
The trans fats
Right.
themselves.
And
Yep.
a lot of their foods, which is industry standard right now, no longer have the good fats, and it's all made with, again, rapeseed oil. That's a problem,
Right.
Yeah.
right?
I
So
I
mean,
had a
isn't
doctor one time try convincing me that grapeseed oil was the cure-all, and I'm glad I never got into it.
oh, we have a new visitor today with us.
Craig Muttley.
Yes, we do. Hey, Craig, how are
And I
you?
recognize that name from Lord Sterling, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
All
And
breakfast
well,
cereals will contain a large amount of iron because of the milling process. Now, there was a study done on Cheerios. Actually, it wasn't a study; it was a bunch of people at home doing lead testing on the Cheerios itself, and it came back with toxic levels of lead, and it's all from the processing. It's just one of those things that we all grew up on it.
well,
We
isn't
still
that
eat it.
isn't that like you're allowed to have so many bugs within so many?
yes,
Yeah.
Peanut
Uh-huh.
butter
Yeah.
uh, peanut
and
butter,
juice,
fig,
actually cranberry juice
Yeah.
yeah, all juices, figs, a lot of food. Matter of fact, most food has a tolerance.
for bugs. Yep.
I don't
And
even
not
want.
including the
Don't
ones
get
that
me
climb in your mouth
started.
at night and you accidentally swallow, but we're not gonna go
That's a
into that and
no.
cause all
That's a
kinds of
fake
problems.
thing. That's been debunked. That's not true.
I don't know, my aunt was in the car and she, saw a spider come down and she inhaled and that sucker went down her throat.
But she wasn't sleeping.
I'd have been spitting for the next 20 minutes.
She wasn't
No, she
sleeping
pulled the
though.
car over and started throwing up and
Oh, I
gagging and all
would
this, and a
too.
cop had to pull over and ask her what happened.
Uh huh.
It was funny. Oh god, yeah, inhale
You
spider while driving. But yeah,
did you read Craig's message
I
comment?
put his comments up,
I
yes.
yeah,
And there was one from Art too that I put up, yeah.
right.
They were we were so you guys were talking and about it, so I just showed it on the screen for everyone to
All
read.
right.
Now,
Oh,
as far
hit
as
play. Oh,
processing goes,
go ahead.
I have a huge problem that it is cheaper to buy processed foods, the stuff in the middle of the store, which is so much less healthy than it is to buy real food.
Yeah, they always tell you to, if you want the real food, to shop on the outside of the store, on
Yeah, but
the outside of the aisles. Do not go into the center
into
aisle.
the center, and that is someplace I do religiously avoid for my own health, but there are times
Yep.
when you can't afford to do that. It
I
is
know.
cheaper to buy a 99-cent box of pasta and a $1.25 pre-processed jarred tomato sauce.
Than
To
it is to try to make your own
Yeah.
anymore. Yep,
Yeah,
because it's way things have gotten so expensive. Art says, I agree. Some of the ingredients may not be good for us, but there's no world where you can expect to ship stuff to a store and have it entirely free of chemicals.
amen,
Okay,
Art.
so
That's
if
true.
that's the case, then why are they saying the difference is in the other countries like Europe, Asia?
Well,
Why is it that they're
because they
healthier
don't do the mass shipping like we do. There's a lot of your
local?
town's in Italy.
Correct. Are
It's a
local.
bakery that
Correct.
bakes fresh every day. The
And you get
butcher is fresh every day. They don't ship foods like we do.
right. And we have friends that are there that we've talked to that literally go to the store every 2 to 3 days and buy fresh
Yep,
food. They get
Right.
fresh
yep,
vegetables, fresh meats, fresh breads. And if those ingredients aren't used, for example, the bread goes stale or, may start to mold quicker than, a loaf of bread that we have for, a week or a week and a half in a package. So I think that's
yeah.
what makes the difference.
Well, and I wanna point something out. You talk about the European countries. So, most of those countries would fit inside of 1 or 2 states,
Right.
That's true
and
too.
we have to
Yeah.
ship this across the country, and not just across the country. I know, again, in my husband's food manufacturing job, we also ship to other countries That
Yes,
food has to make it there.
yes. There was just,
Yeah.
I do believe we may see the video later this week on Wrecked Sisters, I believe, just for the, not for the subject matter, but for something else. But there's a product that is being sold, uh, that the United States makes, that we ship to third world countries, that saves children's lives in a package.
Mhm.
Okay, like a, it looked almost like a candy bar type thing.
Mhm.
Um, that supposedly Rubio wasn't getting shipped over in a timely fashion, and Congress was going absolutely ape shit over it. I, and after we've been digging into this, I'm thinking to myself, what the hell was in that that is keeping that candy bar or whatever that bar alive? And one of the other issues is our products are now becoming more and more, quote, shelf stable, meaning they're
I
lasting
don't
up
like
to
that.
25 years on your shelf. So is there things that are in those shelf stable products to keep them safe on the shelf for that long?
Supposedly safe.
Correct.
Yeah.
But what's in, what's
Well,
in that, you know, I just opened a box of it had 4 jars of yeah, what you call it? Mhm. Here we go. We know the word. Yeah.
Give us an idea, we'll work with you.
Salsa, there we go, I got it.
Okay.
So there were 4 jars of salsa that came
salsa.
packed in the box, right? And it says shelf stable for up to 25 years.
Yeah, that's about right. Anything that is canned, it's pressure canned and
Right,
anything because that went into a retort.
right.
So, yeah, that's gonna be shelf stable 20 at least 25 years. That's
So
not preservatives, that is preservation, the same thing that your grandma, your great-grandma, and your
with the
great-great-grandma did.
correct. So
And that's where I go canned food. I'll if it's a canned food or a jarred food that hasn't been opened, I know it's gonna be fine. If you open that cap and it makes that popping noise, you know it's
mhm,
good.
right. But one of the things that the food industry has also done is on those cans or jars that you get, it'll have a expiration date or best use date by.
Mhm.
And so an expiration date can be different than the best use date,
Mhm.
but how long does a can actually have when it says it's expired in 2 years? Is it
D?
really? I know.
I
I'm
it
asking for the audience.
Okay, I was gonna say because they're still eating World War II K
I
rations.
know. I'm asking for the
As
audience.
long as it hasn't been damaged, it's
Correct.
good.
So there are many people that follow those guidelines, especially the younger generation that I see
My
take
kids.
those and they look at it and they go, oh my God, that's out of date by, 6 months or two
I got
months or two
spices
weeks,
that are 10 years old and I still use them.
Mhm.
and so I think they have had this kind of like programming done where that's why we have a lot of food
Yep.
waste that
Yeah,
happens
it's
as well.
consumerism. It's consumerism. If and I've seen kids do it. Milk is fine, right?
Yeah.
But for some reason,
If
midnight
the date,
hits,
yep, and it's
and
no
they're like,
longer,
"Throw it out." It's like,
And it's
"Wait,
all of a sudden bad.
yes.
it's not like
Smell it.
some little fairy popped up at midnight and hexed your milk. I
Huh?
swear it's still fine." Do you when you buy milk, it has those divots on it, right? On the in the carton, the gallon?
Yeah.
Right?
Do you know what those are for?
No.
I have heard of it, but I do not.
When when milk starts to go bad, it off gases, and those will expand
Right.
out, and you're, "Oh, my milk is bad." Throw it out.
Mhm.
Oh,
That's right.
I did not know that.
Yes. And something else, non-pasteurized milk does not actually go bad. It changes into something else, but it is still usable.
Sour
Uh,
cream.
well,
Mm,
whey, it is a
mhm.
form of whey. Yeah, it's still usable. Surprise.
Yep. Curds and whey. Isn't
Yep.
that
Mhm.
from the nursery rhyme?
Yeah,
Yes.
for your favorite thing, the itsy bitsy spider
Yeah.
went up your leg and down.
Little Miss Muffet sat on a tuffet eating her curd. Along came a spider, sat down beside her, and scared Miss Tuffet away. That's what
No,
it was.
no,
Yep.
it scared Crazy Bee away, is what it did.
Oh, yeah, actually, I just get to the highest point that I can climb
Uh-huh.
to with my bad back and start screaming for someone.
Right. Craig Mike says probably the same stabilizers and preservatives in that bar that make Twinkie. Oh yeah, they have found Twinkies from decades ago, and people have opened them up and said, "Oh, we're gonna try this," and they survived and lived.
You're
And Art
correct, Art.
says banned canned food will cause cans to bulge on the ends too. You don't see that much these days. Correct.
You are correct.
And what about cans that have been dented or have a ding in them? I
It's
believe as long as
Those
nothing's
are usually
leaking.
okay.
mm,
Yeah, as long as there's no
Yep.
leaking or anything like that, uh, they tend to be okay. But again, I've seen a lot of waste occur because
Yep.
of those types of things.
I've had full out arguments with my daughter trying to throw away canned food because it said it was expired. And I'm like, no, it's not. Well, then you eat it. I will. Go to your room. Do not throw out that food. It's still good.
Hmm.
Canned food. She tried throwing my spices
Hmm.
because they were old and clumped. Just take a knife, shake it around in there, break it up, and there you go. You got your spice still. It's not bad. As long as it holds its flavor, it's good. And
Right.
there's no mold on it. There's no
Right.
bugs in it. You can use it.
this is true.
I know I'm not crazy, but no, you don't have to throw it away because of an expiration date. And like I said, I've gone into full out arguments with my daughter about this. No, do not throw it away. Oh, trying to explain it because I mean they're literally sealed so good. I mean that's why when you crack a can with the can opener, you hear the hiss noise.
Right.
You pop a jar and you hear that popping noise. It's because it's a tight seal and the air's finally moving in. It's good. If you don't hear that air coming in and out from the jar or the can, don't use it. That's
Mm.
how I judge it. But I think we
I'd
can pretty
say,
much stop this here on the video
yeah,
part.
I'd say live on the I've been live on the wild side, and whatever happens, happens.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Plus, if we start
Um
drinking, the vodka will kill it. Right?
There's a colon cleanse.
Oh
Uh-huh.
yeah.
A colon disinfectant, actually,
Uh-huh. There we go.
and a
Right.
urinary tract disinfectant.
Mm-hmm.
Cranberry juice and some vodka. You'll clean out your urinary tract problems in no time. I declump spices with a cheap electric coffee grinder, but I live in rain country. Yep. Hold on. Next one from Craig Mutley. Expiration dates used to go further than they do now,
Hmm.
then to psyop the masses into buying even more quickly. Use by date was introduced. Mhm.
I
Mm-hmm.
I actually want to bring that up because this is something that drives me absolutely crazy. Every recipe I look at these days, storage up to 3 days in your
Yes.
refrigerator, and I'm like, "Excuse me?"
Uh-huh. Yep.
Um, Freeze it if you're not going to use it within 3 days, and you
It
have it forever.
it's usually fine for much longer than 3 days. I mean,
Right.
cooked
Yeah.
chicken does not go bad in 3 days. I
Exactly. And then if you're depending on what refrigerator you're using in my home,
mm.
you could be using the refrigerator that freezes or the
Well,
refrigerator.
and
You know what
I
I
want
just
to point out
realized?
that's if you
The
properly store the
Goldilocks.
food in the fridge.
I just have the Goldilocks of refrigerators. I have
Mhm.
Papa fridge, Mama fridge, and baby fridge. And
This
I'm
one's
trying.
too warm, that one's too
Here's what
cold.
here's what's bad is the old fridge that is like 25 years old. The refrigerator part has now turned into a partial freezer, it makes drinks so freaking cold that when we take drinks out of the new one, we're like, something's wrong with this one. It just doesn't cut it. I told Eric, I said, I think we might have to put this out on the front porch because we consider that the back, even though it faces the front street. And I'm like, he goes, yeah. Could you
Yeah.
see the neighbors driving by, and you want to put the refrigerator on the porch? I'm like, well, it has the perfect electrical socket. We could go out there and have ice cold drinks still. You could keep your ice cream in there. Hey, I don't know. I just realized Mama, Papa, and Baby. Hmm.
Yeah. I do want to add though that if you store your food properly, now if you do what my ex-husband does and just throws the chicken on a plate and sticks it in the fridge, it will go bad within 3 days. Cuz
It'll
God
get all
knows
hard and
what
nasty.
falls on it from everywhere else in the
Yeah,
fridge.
yeah, it'll get all hard and nasty. You do want to cover it up.
Yeah. Yeah, but he doesn't like doing that. He just puts it on a plate and shoves it in the fridge.
Okay.
Drives me and my daughter nuts. Um Art Briggs says, generally, I try to get through prepared food within 3 to 4 days because beyond that, I will freeze it. It's just a personal preference, and that's pretty much what we do. But like when I make goulash, like my massive pot of goulash, it's gone within 3 days. It is my kids, ex-husband, and I. We will just eat that breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It is so good,
That's,
and I don't make it all the time, so.
yeah, there's food I make that I'll have breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and then snack and 2 o'clock in the morning. And why even bother trying to freeze it? But
So
I,
for sake of time, we gotta get through this article.
okay,
It's a basically that they're just going to change the items, not remove them.
correct.
If I remember correctly. I don't know. Did you want to read this since you sent it over, or do we want to listen to it? Because we can
Yeah, let's
listen.
listen to it. Let's listen to it since we can't talk,
Okay.
neither one of us.
Let's see if it'll load. Uh-oh.
Yep.
There
B,
we
I'm
go.
showing you offline your
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, she's trying to get it to load, I think. Can you
okay.
put the article back up? It's only a quick read. And we can just
It's a
skim.
1-minute read.
Yeah, we can skim it too if we have to. How are we do? Oh, we got time.
Oh, now I
But
got it to where it's transitioned so everyone can see it.
there
There we
you
go.
go. Okay, so this was from April of 2025, and this was his plan to phase out synthetic food dyes, and it could face the industry pushback. This is what I was talking about earlier. Um, you can't hit play, Crazy Bee.
I can. Yep.
Go ahead, hit it.
All right. Oh, come on.
With food companies to phase out the use of synthetic food dyes, but as NPR's Yuki Noguchi reports, it's unclear whether food companies will comply.
Studies have linked petroleum based food dyes to various behavioral and cognitive problems in children. Under the Biden administration, the Food and Drug Administration moved to ban one of them, red number 3, by early 2027. Yesterday, the Trump administration's new FDA head, Marty McCary, said further regulatory action has been a long time coming.
American children have increasingly been living in a toxic soup of synthetic chemicals.
McCary's FDA plans to revoke regulatory approval of 2 dyes, citrus red number 2 and orange B. McCary and Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. say they're working with companies to voluntarily phase out 6 other more commonly used dyes. That surprised Thomas Galligan. The principal scientist at the Center for Science in the Public Interest had anticipated the FDA would announce a ban, not a voluntary agreement.
The FDA has the authority to ban them outright if they wanted to. And so it's a bit of a strange announcement.
He says voluntary agreements have fallen apart before.
It's worth pointing out that many food companies historically have made promises like this before, then they have consistently reneged on those promises.
But, says Galligan, recent state laws are beginning to force companies to change. Several states, including California and West Virginia, have already passed food dye bans. In a statement, Consumer Brands Association, a trade group, defended the safety of its ingredients. It did not specify whether it would comply with the administration's new proposal. Yuki Noguchi, NPR News.
So again, there's been a lot of voluntary offers, but nobody actually follows through. Love
Right.
it.
Right.
So nice of them.
I can tell
Um,
you some of what that's about, though, B. It's especially right now, if you are changing a product, it has to go through testing. And I don't mean, oh, I just want to take this particular chemical out and add that chemical in. You have to see how that's going to react with everything else because you're looking at problems with how the formulation works, the food itself, the taste, the way it interacts with the stabilizers and the other things. I did think it was interesting that they specifically were talking about petroleum-based um, food dyes. So
yeah.
I would like to see all of those go away because I'm not a big fan of us eating that much petroleum. Again, we're talking about an
I
oil that we
basically, yeah,
can't.
if you think about what petroleum's used in, I mean, yeah, we shouldn't be eating it.
Well, interestingly enough, petroleum, so Vaseline type thing, is used to treat severe constipation in babies. So how is it that we're not all like running to the bathroom all the time? Just based on the dyes that we're eating? Or is that why we're starting to see so many people with things like celiacs, with IBS,
Ooh,
with, Crohn's? Is it
I
because
have IBS, and unfortunately, I'm stuck eating cheap food.
yeah.
That does make sense. So, last one is the one you sent over, of the SNAP benefits,
Mm.
um, going to be cracking down on people. Um, so, I'll do unless you wanna do the quick read, I
I
can,
You can't, doesn't
but
matter.
okay, let me enlarge this so people can see it, because it is very tiny. So Hoosiers will no longer be allowed to purchase candy and soda using taxpayer-funded food assistance, making Indiana the first state to receive a federal waiver for the restrictions. The USDA Secretary Brooke Rollins signed off on Indiana's request this week, according to a Friday news release. Governor Mike Braun's from Governor Mike Braun's office. The Republican governor signed an executive order in April as part of his Make Indiana Healthy Again plan to limit the use of supplemental nutrition assistance, known as SNAP, the program. The new policy will take effect January 1st of 2026, per a spokesperson for the governor. More taxpayer-funded SNAP dollars are spent on sugary drinks and candy than on fruits and vegetables. Braun said in a statement. Indiana is proud to lead the way in making America healthy again. In the Make a Health, uh, yeah, that program agenda by making this common sense move to return SNAP to its intended purpose, nutrition. Braun said he requested a federal waiver to allow Indiana to impose its own restrictions on the program. He pointed to USDA data showing that soda is the most purchased item with SNAP benefits nationwide. SNAP recipients spend more on sugary drinks, desserts, and candy than on fruit and vegetables combined. Research I sound like I'm slurring my speech. Research additionally shows children in SNAP households consume 43% more sugary beverages than children in similar income homes not enrolled in the program. Indiana was one of the first states to apply for the waiver and is part of a broader push by the Braun administration to combat diet related health problems and improve food quality in low income Hoosier communities. The announcement initially came during the rollout event for the initiative, where U.S. Health and Human Services Secretary RFK Jr. praised Indiana's approach. I urge every governor across America to follow your lead, Kennedy said during an April 15th visit in Indianapolis. He called for other reforms to like banning certain food dyes and additives, expanding farm to school programs, implementing fitness testing in schools, and increasing SNAP transparency. Related executive orders recently signed by Braun include those to add work requirements for more SNAP recipients, commissioning studies about food and safety and diet-related illness, and various proposals to generally limit waste, fraud, and abuse in the state's Medicaid program. I apologize. Um, there's good and bad with this.
Mhm.
It's like I just struggle with it because let's say someone is type they're diabetic and they're having a sugar crash. They're out on the road. They're at a gas station. They feel it coming on. They use their SNAP card to grab a candy bar to get their blood sugar up. And now it's not going to be allowed.
Orange juice.
Eh, orange juice is a good alternative, I know.
But
But like
I will
one of those,
always, I grew up in it. You might disagree, but I always have cash in my wallet in the event of an emergency. If
Mhm.
you need a couple dollars worth of gas, if you got to buy that candy bar,
Yeah.
there should be something
yeah.
left in the your wallet, the glove box,
Yeah. I
especially if
have a
you're
grouch
diabetic.
bag.
Yeah, if you're diabetic or whatever, I carry emergency needles if I happen to go into a coma situation that I got to have injections done. So,
Yeah.
again, I recognize that people may be in a poor situation, but I think there could be some either a waiver if it's a medical thing. Right now, the databases, remember I told you we got the IRS and Social Security and Medicare, Medicaid. Everybody now is talking, and with AI coming into the situation in the fold, I think you're going to see, hopefully, yeah, right, Dee, that's a stupid freaking statement you're going to make right now. Better coordination of effort in some of these things.
Uh-huh.
But all I could say is if you know that you're in these situations, you need to do some type of planning and prep. And if that means to save, a dollar here or there as this is getting ready to roll out for next year, start putting a dollar away a month or whatever so that you can get the candy bar or whatever. I
A
mean,
If it's needed.
yeah, if necessary.
and I would like to point something out, Crazy Bee, and that is, and it's something that I'm sure you know about, and that is glucose tablets,
I'm
also
gonna,
glucose,
yep,
uh
mention them.
right. If nothing else, if you are literally in such financial straits that you can't save a dollar, and I know there are people in that situation, you
Yeah.
can, and you're diabetic. You talk to your doctor and you say, "Look, I do have a habit of my sugar dropping. Can you prescribe a
Yeah.
glucose gel for me that I can carry in my car or in my purse,
Mhm.
or
That's
glucose
true.
tablets?"
Mhm.
I used to carry the glucose tablets, and they've actually helped 2 patients that were crashing while we were there doing testing. We were doing a cardiac ultrasound and echo, and, we checked his blood sugar because he was feeling really dizzy, we knew he was diabetic. Freaking blood sugar was 40.
Yeah.
Wow.
What? Dude, how are you conscious at this point? And so I had glucose tabs, and with the doctor's directions over the phone, we gave him one. It didn't boost enough. We gave him a second with the doctor's orders. And yeah, but some people can't even afford those. And again, whether your insurance will cover it is another question, too.
Well,
Some
I,
insurances are really weird.
Art says you can also buy emergency sugar with cash, which most of them seem to have, in my experience.
Well, and juice,
Yeah.
like any
Yeah.
type of fruit juice, which is
Oh,
still going to
leave
be
that alone.
SNAP available.
Right.
Mhm.
Just not
And
blue.
again, orange juice is the best.
Yeah, not
And
blue
I know
juice.
you can also eat grapes, eat an orange, eat some strawberries. That will boost your sugar naturally too.
Now, I had
It's
heard,
just one of those things that Oh, go
you know,
ahead.
we don't have it here, but I've heard that there are various Dollar Tree and dollar store uh, type locations that are actually offering uh, like vegetables, like potatoes, oranges,
Uh-huh.
apples.
My son works at one.
We don't have that here. I find that
Oh,
amazing.
wow. We have
Yeah, we
2 of
don't
them
have
in
it here.
town.
Yep,
$2
No, we don't have it
Generals.
here either.
yep, we don't have it.
Oh,
Wonder why.
interesting. They have them in Michigan, and
Yeah.
we have, my son works at one, and he complains about the flies over the produce all the time.
Oh, I bet that's, yeah, that's interesting. We won't
But
go.
that's part of his job is to chase the flies away. Oh, but he tells me some funny stories though of someone who took the hamburgers out of the package, the plastic bag, left the bag, and the hamburgers were we don't know where, but they walked out the door with the hamburgers somewhere.
Oh, wow.
Um,
Oh,
yeah, my son came across that at work.
yeah.
But
It's
yeah, it is, again, it's good that because again, they actually had a problem, with SNAP benefits down here 20 something years ago. I remember in the news, people were buying, like, lobster, shrimp, and steaks instead of, like, practical foods too. They were buying the top of the line ones, and it's like, well, once in a while is one thing, but that's, like, all they bought. It's like, "Wait a minute. Why are you spending $30 on a lobster?"
right.
I I
Like
can't speak for that, but when I was on food stamps, I actually bought with a full beef brisket,
Mm-hmm.
which it was
Yeah,
I remember it was cheaper than buying individual roast, but I bought it because I could break it down, and then I made it last for, like, a very long time, and I
Right.
thought,
oh, yeah.
this is the way people should be buying their meat when you're on food stamps because, you don't have a lot to begin with, and I think that that's something that you and I think you too, Dee, we've talked about this. There needs to be a way for people who are on, benefits to learn how to maximize
Their
what
dog.
they're getting. Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah, that's, I mean,
Yep.
I can remember when you had food stamps and they were just like you read
paper.
them out of the book. They
Yes.
were paper.
The
They were
Yeah.
paper
different.
book.
They
Yep.
were different colors and they
Yes.
represented different things, right?
Yes.
And I'm telling you, when it was
Yep.
food stamp day, if I went into the grocery store, I came out so depressed because there's me with 2 kids and I'm using coupons. I had my boys using coupons going down the aisle. Hey, honey, go look for this so that they
Mhm.
wouldn't tear the store apart. And we'd get up to the checkout aisle and there'd be one person with steaks. I overloaded carts, and they'd whip out food stamps, and I'd be like, "Somebody, please explain it to me. I'm
Yeah.
trying to get by on $100 a week, and for 4 people, how? I don't get it." Um,
That's I know, it's
so
that middle class problem.
Yeah.
exactly. So now there has been a lot of pushback from the Democrats regarding. In fact, there was a hearing for one subject matter. However, all the Dems used it to berate Trump or to say, you're eliminating the Medicaid program for 800,000 of my constituents in the state. What are they supposed to do? And they said, well, here's the problem. They are all either illegal aliens on the program, which the programs were meant for Americans, mothers, and children primarily,
Mhm.
or two, they were able bodied and there was no reason why they shouldn't get a job. Now,
Yeah,
okay, so when I was laid off back in the day, we had to prove that we were actively seeking job employment opportunities.
Mhm.
And if you didn't get the benefit.
Right.
Uh, so is it acceptable that, there are generational, I mean, there's studies out that there's generational issues when it comes to welfare, Medicaid, SNAP programs, that it has just been perpetuating since uh,
The beginning.
the beginning of the program. Yeah.
And
So,
Art's saying there's a lot of cheating of the SNAP system in certain places. Not sure how would you police that problem. And I've heard of this. You could go to a party store with your food stamp card.
uh
They'd
huh.
ring up a bunch of food items that equal out to the price of liquor or tobacco and just swap it.
Yes. Yes.
You walk out with the other items, but
Mm-hmm.
they mark it as sold food.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've heard of it, but I'd never seen it firsthand.
Or people would
But
sell their food stamps for cash.
oh yeah, I've seen that happen a
Yeah.
lot.
But
Mm-hmm.
there's something to be said about that, Dee, and that is because I did spend 6 months on food stamps. I can tell you that one of the hardest things is in my state, food stamps literally only buys food. That means you can't
Yeah.
buy shampoo, you cannot buy dish detergent, you cannot buy clothes detergent, nothing. Nothing to
That,
clean your
that's
house yourself.
ridiculous. That's
I-
ridiculous.
But be that as it may, if I could, buy somebody, I don't know, a
I
gallon of
agree.
milk and they'd give me $2.37 so I could go buy dish
Laundry
soap.
detergent. Right. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, see, that's
Yeah.
where there's no common sense in some of this programming. Yes, I agree it's, for food, but yeah, let's look at the big picture here. How are you going to wash yourself and do your laundry and things of that nature? That some of this doesn't make sense. There's
Yeah,
no
I I
There's no
remember
common
I
sense.
remember a friend of mine, she was also in some very dire straits, but she had some money and she said, "What can I get you to help?" And I said, "Go buy the biggest bottle of the cheapest, dish soap you can buy because with dish soap, I can wash my hair, do my clothes, and do my dishes."
Jeez.
Yeah. When you're in hard times, you gotta learn
I know.
ways to make it work.
Uh-huh.
Art says public oops, my hands. Public assistance has become a way of life in some places too. The best we can likely do is try to reduce it, but it's probably always going to exist to some extent. That's
Yes.
Right.
true.
Mhm.
But like I've said, I've been to a patient's home where it was 4 generations, 3 generations of welfare recipients. And
Yeah.
it's like, you've got to be no, actually, it was 4. I take that back because the great-grandparents were there, the grandparents, the parents, and a dozen kids running around. And the great-grandparents were keeping an eye on the youngest, while the, ones in the middle were either dealing drugs actually, there was drug dealing out of the basement. I watched it as while we were there, and the girls are upstairs braiding hair for cash, and, it's like wow, and again, I walked into we're there, and the lady needed her insulin, and she sends a 4-year-old to the fridge to grab the auto pen, and
Mm,
I'm like, "Oh, no, I'll go ahead and grab it for you," and I'm in the kitchen, and I see this little baby, like, baby maybe a year old, standing in front of the stove, and the handle for the pot of boiling water on it is out facing. So I
mm,
just gently, slid the handle back
mm,
and grabbed the insulin pen and went back, and not trying to be disrespectful or rude, but these kids aren't being properly watched. And I'm watching these people coming out of the basement looking really shady, got their hands tucked where you can't see them, trying to block something from being seen. And it's like, oh my Lord, how? And we've been there when social services was in the home trying to help out because you got like a dozen kids running around, all under the age of 7, and it's like, wow. And again, I get it that some people really do struggle. This was in Detroit, but to have all of them there, not holding legitimate jobs, but living off a state basically, and then making under the table money. it harms the economy and it harms the taxpayers who are paying for all of this when they are able-bodied. You see them moving around the house, they're walking through, getting this, getting that, going here, going there. They could be working a legitimate job.
I'm curious as
So
to
I
how
don't
they
get it.
yeah, I'm curious as to how they made that determination though on well, obviously they have access to the Social Security
Oh, no,
data.
no, no, they just have as many kids as possible.
Or no,
The
I'm
girls have as many kids as
right,
possible from as young as possible.
but I'm talking about how the government determined that that many people would be taken off the rolls is what I'm questioning. So I'm
Yeah.
assuming they went and got it off the state rolls somehow, database rolls that.
And then there's people like me who aren't quite qualifying for Social Security, but
Mhm,
can't work. And so Medicaid is working with me to help cover my medical costs until there is enough evidence to prove I'm disabled.
right. But then you have, Medicare, and that sucks, right? That isn't the be
Yeah.
all answer. You need to have
No,
some.
it's not.
You need to have to purchase a plan on top of you do pay for the Medicare plan, right? Plus, then you need another plan on top of it to cover what they don't
Yep.
pay, and that is almost, in my case, $300 a month. So I'm almost paying, close to
Well,
over $400.
here's what saves some of the older people in the poorer industries.
Yeah.
You can have Medicare and you can also qualify for Medicaid to be your supplemental insurance so you don't have to pay anything. A lot
Mm,
of people didn't know that, and we helped them get into that
yeah.
program.
But you have to meet, if you own your
Financial
home or
requirements.
whatever, yeah, you have financial guidelines, and they're set so low that, I don't qualify for that. They're like
I
selling.
know, but some people
Yeah,
do.
they do.
And
Right.
again, that's a middle class problem. You
Right.
don't make enough to cover everything, but you're not poor enough to get help.
Exactly. And so you're stuck then deciding, what do I do? Do I get my medicine? I mean, I am telling
I
you
know.
what happens in my certain medication issues. I don't get the script filled for the month. I go, give me 15 pills instead of give me 30. And I'll either skip a day, or I'll say, we'll have the money, in 2 weeks to give me a partial fill or whatever. I mean, I just told you where, and this is even interesting. I don't know for anybody that is on Medicare right now. In the past, pharmacies would not accept GoodRx or the other program that's out there, okay, if you were on Medicare. Now they are letting you use GoodRx, and I suggest that you take a look at if you're paying any copay to go on to GoodRx and check the prices. I just got a new prescription on Thursday. It was 100, and I have a flag on my on my pharmacy system. Anything over $50, I'm to be notified because I'm not paying it. Okay, so the bill
Yeah.
comes in at $130. I'm like, absolutely not. I'm Forget it. I don't want it. I'll suffer. Whatever. And I said to them, "Did you look at GoodRx?" And the girl goes, "No, but I will." And so and there was another drug that was $75. And she's like, "Oh," she goes, "No, they're all about the same." And I'm like, "Well, I don't want them then." And then 5 minutes later, I get a call back from one of the girls that I know very well. And she's like, "Dee, I just ran this through GoodRx." And I'm like, "Well, the other girl did." And she goes, "Well, I don't know what she did, but just let me tell you that that $130 tab went to GoodRx to $55.
Uh-huh.
Medicare was going to give them $130, but on GoodRx it was only 55. So pay attention to, if you're looking to save money, look at those other programs that are out there. Now, they
So
also have like say you have brand name drugs like I can't like glucoflage for diabetes or whatever,
Yeah.
and say there's a coupon that's offered by the manufacturer, Medicare, even though I buy a separate policy, I am not permitted to go onto that free program
I know.
that manufacturer will pay
That's
because
true.
yep,
Yep.
they will not
It
permit.
sucks being in the middle class.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, we have that exact problem with my mother's Eliquis. She makes too much to get on Medicaid, right?
Mhm.
She's on Medicare, but she
Right.
doesn't qualify for the program that, AbbVie puts out for Eliquis
Right.
because she is on Medicare.
Right.
And, B can testify that what my mother paid for her Eliquis just 2 months ago was outrageous.
My
Mhm.
heart breaks.
Mhm. That I mean, like it's
That
not.
is
It,
BS
yeah,
what they go through.
the whole drug industry is crazy. I need to have medication. Art says, and if you're younger than 65, the Medicare supplemental is outrageously expensive. Over 65, the price is half or less what it is before that point. Um,
Mm.
hmm,
Oh, Art had another good one. I'd rather work than be disabled. Amen. I
yes.
have been stuck in a bed since 2019. 90%, it's either bed, wheelchair, or walker for 90% of my life since 2019. I would rather be working. Why do you think I'm doing this? I can't sit here and stare at the walls and watch the same TV programs over and over and over.
Well,
Can't do it no more. I've got to do something. I'm sick
yeah.
of it.
And is
And I
dumb.
know you guys
Yeah,
are too. I know you both very well.
yeah, I've had it. I got sick in '07. The majority of my time is spent in bed. And so
Yep.
one of the things, being
And
on,
how is that fair to us? We
yeah,
wanna work. We wanna do something to
I
earn
had
money,
I had a
but we can't.
career.
It
Yeah,
sucks.
I had a career. I traveled.
Mhm.
I was an assistant professor at a community college. I taught several days a week. I traveled across the country. I mean, we did stuff. We had plans. We had dreams, and then you get sick, and all of a sudden, everything goes to hell in a handbasket, and who knows what turn life is going to bring here. Uh, it sucks.
Yeah.
This was never the
I
plan.
was looking to go back to
Yeah,
school for nursing, and
yeah.
it just went out the door.
If it wouldn't have been that I had a disability program through work, I don't know what I would have done. I mean, that's the only thing
Yeah.
that was saving grace there. And that's a whole nother story we can talk about later, the how that works and how they get over on the system. But it's
Yep.
absolutely ridiculous what we've had to endure um, throughout the years. It truly is. And I feel like it's all a circular kind of thing. Sometimes I think it's intentional, for sickness or whatever. I don't understand how the drugs are the way that they're, uh, determined in pricing. I have to go have that IV infusion done for my bones, okay? And so
Uh-huh.
the reclass, the copay's $25. You need to go every 6 months though. The problem with reclass is you can have extreme bone pain after the fact. And of course, why not? Just for the hell of it, why not? We would have to suffer from that. So they have Prolia, which is once a year. But they called me and they're like, Dee, we want to know if you still want to do the Prolia. And I'm like, well, yeah, I do. And they're like, well, the copay is $2,000. And I'm like, what? How do you go from 25 to 2,000? I said, well, I guess we're going to go back
Uh-huh.
to the reclass at $25 and just suffer with bone pain. I mean, somebody make this make sense.
I wish I could.
Well,
I wish. I know.
Art
I
says,
absolutely know.
yeah, Art's like, I hear you, Dee. Now it's good days and then bad days. Today can't walk, tomorrow maybe can't sit, next day can't stand more for than 10 minutes. You never know what kind of day it's going to be. Absolutely. And
Exactly.
and if I go out for the day, it takes me now almost 3 days to recuperate if I'm up and out. And I mean,
Yep.
and I told you after the 31 days in January in the nursing facility, I will be in a wheelchair. It is when, and I already have two of them. And I am telling you, I have been going kicking and screaming. I am not going in it. And so when I was in the home, it was like, get in the wheelchair because you're wheeling up to fit rehab. You can't make the walk, you have to wheel. And so they did kind of convince me in a way to kind of use it. And I thought I was going to use it with the baby, but uh, I definitely can't walk and carry him. So, we made other arrangements. That little sucker's going to be wheeled around in a bassinet, and Crazy Bee came up with an idea that I just duct tape him to the wall and stick the pacifier in his mouth. So I've just placed, and
It works.
this starts on Tuesday full time. People, don't forget, from now till he goes to preschool, 3 years
Velcro.
from now, 3 years from now, in March of what 29, or is that right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, March of
No,
20.
28. It'll be
28.
28.
So he'll probably not be able to go till September of 28.
Yep.
He'll be
Art
on the wall.
Velcro.
He'll be on
Velcro.
the wall. So oh yeah, Velcro might
Velcro.
be better. Mm.
Yep.
Oh, that's what Art was just saying too. Velcro.
Hmm. I'm thinking that.
Especially when he starts walking around.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Then you're going to need it.
That, or I'm gonna have maybe I'll get one of them like harnesses. You see them mothers walking those kids around, and I'll put them on a
I
harness.
love those. Those are great.
Really?
I've had those with my kids because I had two of them a year and a half apart. Yes, they are great.
Well, I would have looked at you funny.
Look at me funny all you want. It kept my kids from running into traffic while I
Right,
was looking
right.
the other way.
Yeah, there you go. But it's the whole thing combined. When you look at the cost of food, the cost of housing, uh, wait, we're going to be doing a story when you find out that, and I'll just mention it briefly, $93 billion in 76 days was absconded by the Department of Energy between the time Trump was elected and Biden left office. And they don't know where the
Uh
money is.
huh.
So we have our utilities, we have our food, we have our drugs. What am I missing? Combine
Um,
that. How do people live today?
very carefully on a very tight budget, like we did in the 1930s.
Transportation, gasoline, and we still have not seen our gas prices go down. So where people are talking about, oh yeah, gas prices have fallen, we haven't seen it. None of it, And as far as what's happened when COVID hit and
Birth
prices hit,
year will be on Google.
our you used to be able to go into a convenience store and buy a big gulp, one of the blue ones, and
Uh huh.
a big bag of potato chips for 99 cents. That 99-cent bag of chip from the uh, gas station has now been converted over to Walmart, who's selling it now for $2.78. I
That's
per-
insane.
I personally do not believe that we are going to see prices decrease. And you know why? Because the American people have been paying it. I
Yep.
don't see us
If we're
going
willing
back.
to pay it, they're going to keep
Yeah,
charging it.
Now, they might not well, that is a lie though, because eggs have come down in price. They were selling 60 eggs for $14. They went up as high as $32 and they're back down to 14 now for 60 eggs. So
I still.
yeah, egg prices have come down. But things like, if you want to buy butter, it's, almost $8 for 4 sticks of butter. Just ridiculous.
Uh-huh.
And
Again, D,
yeah,
where you live,
yeah.
I'm thinking you've got better options than to go to the store.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I know. There's other factors,
And
though.
that's like my area too.
Yeah,
We've got a lot of Amish. We don't have to get eggs from the store.
exactly.
We could just go down the road.
Yeah, if them,
Knock knock. Hey,
yeah,
you got a dozen eggs?
yeah. Unfortunately, the little MF and chickens are kind of running out of their laying productivity, so
Do you have a
Yeah.
broody hen?
they do not.
Okay. I was because if you have a broody hen, go buy yourself some fertilized eggs, let her
Uh,
brood them out, and you can
yeah,
renew your
that.
flock.
Yeah, he didn't do that. I don't believe, and yeah, they're kind of at the end of their life cycle. When they first were laying, man, I'm telling you, we were between the two of us, we were getting like almost 100 eggs a week. It was crazy. I couldn't keep up. That's how crazy it was. Um, so now we have the goats. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you ever get back into eggs, did you like glass the eggs to keep them or freeze them?
Not at the time because we were rehabbing. He was putting in the new kitchen, so
Ah, okay.
yeah. That's why
I would
that
have froze
whole
them if you yeah.
well, I didn't have the freezer. None of that was
Yep.
available. That's why the whole canning series Faye is
Mhm.
going to be taking off because we have everything ready. But the current kitchen held the office as well as other things, and let's just say counter space was like nothing.
Mm,
So,
I
but
understand that.
yeah, in the new
I
kitchen,
have a tiny kitchen.
yeah. So this I think
So
is
somebody is becoming a chicken nugget in the near future.
uh, for the dogs, probably. So for the dog, yeah, they were
Yes.
good, and it's interesting because we keep ours. EJ pretty much built Fort Knox that nobody can get under, over, or in there. They can't escape, and our neighbor would let his free range, and he lost every single one. And I would look
Yep.
out the
To
window and
predators.
exactly, I'd look out the window and I'd see them down along the hillside into the creek. And, I mean, we have bear that come through here for Pete's sake. And,
Bears
obviously,
aren't likely to eat chickens. They're more
no, but
likely to
I'm
go through
just
your trash
saying
before they'd eat a chicken.
that's just this type of, I'm just saying that qualifies from the littlest creature up to a bear and everything in between is on the property. That's all.
Yeah.
Fox, raccoons, hawks, eagles. What else you want? Cats, dogs. Anything goes here. Anything goes. Spiders,
Mhm.
wolf spiders, sand spiders, whatever the hell them things were. No, camel spiders. That's what they were.
If you
Yeah.
have camel spiders on your property,
So
you have
I
a
don't,
problem.
but we know
You got a
somebody does.
problem.
Yeah, but if I ever see a camel spider, we're gone. It was bad enough we saw that wolf spider. We
Yep.
left. We left.
JJ introduced her to camel spiders a few weeks
Yes.
back.
Yeah.
Ah,
I never
okay.
even knew. I never even heard of such a thing.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
They're mean and they are big.
They're
Yes, they
huge.
are. But I don't know. They looked kind of mild compared to the wolf spider. I don't know
I've
which.
been bit by wolf spiders. It is not fun. But I've been bit by brown recluse. It is not fun. Actually, that was that one on my elbow just last year that finally
Yeah, I
healed up.
remember. Yep.
I showed you guys the pictures of
Yep.
Mhm.
absolute deterioration of the skin. All the way down to the fat layer was emulsified, and I had a big ol' hole in my arm.
Yeah.
That's
Yay!
So
Oh.
I think we're in for
Oh,
some interesting times. I'll tell you
oh,
that.
yes, we are.
I mean, and I've told you both the story that, I'm trying to do somewhat of keeping things available in the event anything else happens in the future, and I'm telling EJ, you need to pick up a little bit on your, put some stuff away, keep some food, put away. And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about, Mom. He goes, I'm just coming down there and unaliving you and Daddy and taking everything, all the work that you did. And I'm like, thank you, son. That would be ever so, kind of you. He's not stupid.
Oh, no, he's not.
No, he's not. He's thinking ahead. He's like, why, let Mom and Dad take care of it. I'm telling you, the stuff that
He
goes,
thinks outside the box.
yes, he does. The most disturbing thing about going through the lockdown and everything was the day we were coming home, and they talked about, and this is all common knowledge, so YouTube, we're not talking anything that isn't out of the realm of possibility, but that in the event something truly major were to happen, how these cities would ultimately fan their way out into the country,
Yep.
right? And we're on the way home, and him and I were talking about this. And to know that he actually was thinking about, he said, Mom, if this happened, I would do X, Y, and Z here that nobody
Yep.
could. Like I'd cut this tree here, no car could get up the road. I would do this here, and nobody could do this. Yeah. Mom, all your money and I are going to Aruba. Yeah, also a joke of taking care of Mom. Exactly. Yeah, wait until you raise the grandchild though. Get them up to preschool, and then then you can whatever. But to know that I never really thought about that kind of stuff, right? Growing
Hmm.
up, that we would be in a situation where we would have to make those considerations of think about if something were to happen after we experienced what we did, and nobody was able to get certain foods or toilet paper or whatever, and that in the event of something bigger happening, that people would fan out from the city to potentially get into the country where you live. um,
Yep.
to know that he thought about that stuff, that really bothered the hell out of me. Yeah, that keeps him awake at night, and to know that now I worry about, now know why I have to have the 20-year extra plan in place for those brats that are his.
But you love him.
I do, but it's still knowing that you're not going to be around long enough to protect them. And I know that's all factual and a fact of life, but it's still very upsetting because it's something that I didn't have to worry about raising my family. That
Yeah.
these were things that were going to happen. Yeah, times got tough, and you know, uh, you know, I mean, if it wasn't for my in-laws when I was younger and had my own apartment and stuff, if I didn't go there for dinner, sometimes I probably wouldn't have eaten. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
would go there for dinner on the day, and every Sunday I was there for dinner. So they they practically saved me at certain points in my life growing up, uh, before we got married, and that would probably be the hardest time I really ever experienced. There were other times when I got laid off and then decided to go back to school. Yeah, those times were tough, but they were little enough that we were able to buckle down. But today, it just seems different. It seems much more difficult. And I don't know how people really do it. It's very difficult. And my problem is I have family, I have friends that are struggling to make ends meet in a variety of ways, But the kick in the pants are the ones that are food deprived or don't get enough food, uh, that are relying on assistance, food, SNAP, WIC, food stamps, churches, food banks, you name it. And all of those things, right? Like churches and food banks and all of that, the way that they've distributed food has changed. Uh, Somebody that I know received some very bizarre types of foods, and we're like, what am I supposed to do with this? This doesn't even make a meal. I don't know what is in this. I don't know what to do with it. But that's why I'm so adamant about this whole illegal immigration thing, because until I just am like, we need to fix home before we can take care of others. And we can't be the savior to the world. The United States just isn't it. And we can't be sticking our nose in everybody else's business either. So
Just a second.
I don't. I'm probably wrong on all of that, and
No. Again, we are, yes, we're the richest nation in the world, let's say, but we don't live like it.
true. I would agree with
We
that.
our people in this country do not live like it. Look how people behave. Look what they do. Guys, quit bickering out there. Sorry, there's 4 kids in my, well, 2 adults and 2, a teenager and a preteen. So, yeah,
Yeah,
my son and my niece are shut up back and forth to each other.
that's true. That is true, Crazy B.
Yeah, our nation just does not behave like it. And it's very sad that,
Well,
we have people who are homeless and starving, but again, then we also make it too easy for them to stay that way, and they have no reason to get out of that
well,
circumstance.
then you had Marco Rubio just testified before the Senate this week. Um, when I told you about that bar that they were complaining about wasn't getting sent out, but he also cut the budget, right, for uh,
Yeah.
humanitarian aid somewhat. And he told them, we are still the richest country that gives donations to the world. He says you can add the top 10 countries together and we still surpass how much we give in humanitarian aid. But
You could combine those top 10 and we
that's
outdo them.
correct.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. But that's coming at the cost of the American taxpayer, right? That
Yeah.
is the people that we're talking about. If
This goes back to that Davy Crockett speech. It's not yours to give.
meaning what, the governments?
Yeah, the taxes that we pay, they aren't supposed to be sending that to pet projects. The
Yeah.
American people are supposed to tell them this goes to making America better. It's not supposed to go to all these little charity things. This stemmed from there was a tragic death, and people in Congress wanted to send money to donate for paying for the home and stuff and the burial of the person. And Davy Crockett literally said, it's not our money to give out for charity.
Mm-hmm.
So why is Congress still doing this on this level all these years later?
Right.
Because people, the American citizens, don't know they have the right to tell the government, "You work for me, you're no longer allowed to do that." We have been unempowered by our own ignorance.
Well, my thing is after Art go back, Crazy B. What did
Oh,
Art
one
say?
more.
Yeah, he goes, given what's coming out about Biden, you have to wonder who was actually handling immigration policy. True. We've been
And
questioning
then
that since the beginning, since given the choice of giving out the aid or having them come here, I'd take sending aid to them. That's true too. Uh, but we also did that piece, remember, where supposedly the wheat gets on the ship and goes over and turns around and comes back with the same wheat on the ship. So, explain that. How the hell that, go figure that as well. I mean, I'm all for, let's take these people that want to complain about we're not doing enough and send them with, take them bars of food and send them over and let them help other people. Like, uh, there is,
It's a
when,
tough it's a
yeah,
tough situation because we wanna help those in need,
yes.
and we have the ability to do so, but we also have people in need here, and our system's been overloaded.
Hmm.
It's
And as
tough.
Faye said, about the government, we've lost our power. My
Well,
question is,
general assemblies,
I
we need the
know.
states' assemblies.
So my question is, with everything that we'll be showing probably a lot on Tuesday, you'll see, but with all of these different hearings that have been going on and nothing getting accomplished, and you have your local, your school board, your county, your state, and then the federal, right? So we have all of these areas that are messed up. One, where do you even begin? And two, how do you really have change occur? When you take a look at what Congress is doing, the House of Representatives, and you see what happened this past week, it blows my mind. If this was in a true work setting, I'm telling you, half of them would be fired and probably another dozen would be gone as well. They just would have been gone. The behavior. It was
Oh,
crazy.
when you got politicians acting like high school students, you know something's wrong.
I think they were like middle schoolers, to be honest with you.
Oh, yeah, the name calling and the pouting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd go to middle school, you're right.
How do you sustain change? How do you make change? Oh, yeah, vote them out. Okay, right.
Except when the elections are rigged.
Well, not
Look how
only that,
many
but how do
they
they get?
have proof Elon Omar was legitimately paying for votes, and they're still not doing anything about it. There's video footage, proof of it, and they're still not doing a thing about it. That's our problem.
I don't know the answer. I truly don't.
I know the answer. We got to get the state assemblies
Right.
back, the General Assembly back, and start holding these people accountable on a state level instead of waiting for the federal government to fix it.
Well, and the problem is what? You need 38 of them, and what? There's only
Yep.
nine. There's only what, nine? Is that right?
Not, no, I think it's 12 now.
Okay.
12 states are back to using a General Assembly. Yeah. We got to get more states involved. And again, I wish I could be consistently there, but I can't to help.
Right.
So I'm promoting it to everybody else. And yes,
Right.
all the links to that are in the description of every video.
Right.
Have at it.
Right. And and the problem is you can only vote for a total of 4 people. You don't get to vote for all of them. Correct. That's
Yep.
the problem. I mean, it's
It
frustrating.
just, we're in
Yeah.
a bad situation, plain and
Yep.
simple.
Yeah, we are. It's like we need to, and I mean, and you and I have been going back and forth the last several days because they interviewed Elon Musk and asked him how much money he was going to donate this go around for the midterms. And he said none. And they're like, "What do you mean none?" And he says, "I'm going to primary the rhinos." And you said to me, is he any better than what the Dems did?
George
And,
Soros. Yeah.
well, but my argument back is now, and again, right or wrong, I'm rationalizing it that George Soros was out to destroy the country, which I think he's done a pretty damn good job at. But I do believe Elon, albeit wrecking ball or not, at least has the best interest. I'm hoping for the country. I don't see him, like he wants to go. If he wants to go up against primary a rhino, go for it. How is that any different than what Soros has done? Plus, it's been being done by
Well, and again,
lobbyists.
this goes back though, we're going from a Democrat extreme to a Republican extreme. It
Right.
doesn't fix anything. It just shifts whose extremism
Right.
is going to
But
control it.
but we have lobbyists doing it, right?
And
They've
that's what
already,
I mean by none of
yeah,
this is going to get fixed. Even if Elon does primary these
right,
people, we're going to have the same problem just with a different political party.
right. But I would take one over the other right now.
I don't know. I want the happy middle.
Yeah, I would that would be, but right, there is no happy middle at this point. That's the problem. There is no happy middle.
Well, the problem with swinging all the way to the right and going to the right extremism is it's not going to make it better.
Well,
It's
is it,
just the
you know,
same problem with a different name and different people.
yeah, and is it I don't I don't know,
There's
crazy.
a difference between a change and making it better. Some people think a change of this is going to the change of the politicians and stuff is going to make it better, but at the
And it
core
would
is where the problems are. And
right,
it's not fixing it, it's just changing it. Like Obama changing Medicaid and Medicare to
correct,
Obamacare.
right.
All
That's
he
just
did was slap his
correction.
name on it and destroy the
Yep,
system.
correct.
It didn't just because there's a change doesn't mean it's better and it's
And
fixed.
and again, I would have to evaluate who the candidates would be or that would be running or whatever. And
But we wouldn't really have a say because he already made up his mind to push for this person,
well, does he not
like
have?
Soros did with the Democrats.
Yeah,
I don't
well,
like it. I don't want any billionaires or philanthropists sticking their
but
nose where they don't belong.
it's already being done by, and I'm not saying tit
I
for tat, but what I'm suggesting is
I
there
say we
are
remove all the lobbyists, remove all the
exactly
billionaires,
there.
remove all of it.
Right, I don't disagree with that. There are billionaires, millionaires. There's Hollywood. There's lobbyists. There's pharmaceuticals. There's other industries. You know,
Forbid it.
and if and they're the silent people that we would have to go start looking up and saying, right now we're just doing politicians. You and I've
We haven't
talked
gone
about,
behind the politicians.
yeah, we haven't touched anything behind that. I mean, today we talked about, we haven't even looked at the judicial system. We haven't even looked at any of that yet. We haven't looked at any lobbyists, right? Like
Yeah.
we had, well, you'll see it in the Maxine Waters piece that we're going to do, where I had to laugh because they're there with their uh dem thing, and they're complaining about the Republican part, and it just was like, you got to be kidding me, right? It just, none of
Yeah.
it goes. Term limits, all of that just needs to be reworked, I think, because it's just gotten out of control.
If you are not a resident of the state, you shouldn't be allowed to contribute to the election of any official, but that's not going to happen. Yup.
Hmm.
We thank you for the new follow to the
The
knee jeebies.
BGBs. The BGBs. I like that
What
name.
man isn't linked to some disease or disorder? They want us degraded, debased, demoralized, deranged, disgraced, demented, deluded, disgusted, disabled, so we can be destroyed.
Hmm.
Fundamentally, yeah. And the only way to fight back is say no more of these lobbyists, no more of these philanthropists sticking their nose in it. Just no. They're not allowed to. They can vote and that's it. They can contribute the same amount as average Joe on the street can contribute. No.
Term limits,
I've
dollar
just had
amount.
it with them.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm at the point of, you shouldn't be allowed to, one candidate shouldn't be allowed to have $10 million and another $1,000. And welcome, by the way, the knee
Neeby
BGB.
jeebies.
Yes, the knee BGBs. Welcome to the group, the crazy group. By the way, we have a Discord that we would welcome you to join.
That's a fun name. That's a fun one for us tongue twisters.
Yes, the two that can't talk. Now she's going to come in with a tongue twister. That's just what. Maybe if we practice that, we could get better. Every morning we could say her name and see if we could get our shit together or not. What do you think?
Oh, that'd be fun.
Uh
I
huh.
mean, we already have Cucker Tarlson.
Yeah, why not? We'll just add her to the list. What do you think?
I like
Why,
it.
why don't you throw the Discord link out, and if she wants to join, she could join.
Let me find it.
But how do you take candidates themselves that are out there raising, you got one that got 10 million and one that has a million. I'm all for not only the term limits, but let's give everybody, $5,000 each, and you go do with it what you will to advertise yourself. I mean, it just is, we're out of control, and something needs to be done to rein it in. And the older I get, I'm looking back and I'm seeing things, and I worry about what our future holds. That's my problem.
And the Neebie says, "Y'all are hilarious. 100% take the money out of politics and see how many people still call themselves philanthropists."
Yeah,
Right.
right. Yep. Thank you for that. We don't try to be hilarious. Trust me.
It
None
just
of
happens.
Yeah, it happens. This is not pre-scripted. It's just us being our goofy selves. Yeah.
Uh,
But anyway, we
I've
had
always
oldest. Yeah, go ahead, Faye.
I've always said that you want to see what a candidate is made out of. I think they should absolutely be with every candidate. Plop them down in middle America, give them a 9 to 5, a regular 9 to 5, working in a factory or a store or whatever. That's the money that they have. Make it work.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, some of them have never held real jobs.
Exactly. Find out
Yep.
what it's like to try to decide, do I put food on the table this week or do I pay my electric bill? How about do I put food on the table or put gas in my car so I can get back and forth to the job so that I'll have food next week?
Mhm.
Make it work.
Yeah. How
Let me
if you
resend that invite.
Mhm.
Um, and I'm gonna space it because I think it linked the invite word to the Discord. So hold on, let me add a couple spaces.
I mean, and imagine what has happened to
Try that one.
to the American farmer who is struggling, and then who's been, that we haven't even looked at any of that. We
B and
haven't
I
looked.
were
Yeah,
B
go
and I
ahead.
were just discussing farming recently. Apparently, people are losing their mind over the tariffs on the tomatoes coming in from Mexico. Now, I live in a state that we seasonally grow tomatoes. It's actually a rather large crop here. Indiana, well, Red Gold is based out of Indiana. At one time, there was a cannery just 20 miles down the road from me. It's no longer there. But I know for a fact the southern states in the United States could grow tomatoes year
Year
round.
round.
So
Mhm.
it would not be a problem with having enough tomatoes. It's that right now it's not profitable enough for the farmers to
Mhm.
plant the crops because it's cheaper to buy them from Mexico. So why are people losing their mind over this? Put the tariffs in place, let the American farmer plant the crop, plant 40,000 acres of tomatoes. Yes, it's gonna take a year, maybe 18 months to get the infrastructure in place, and right now for those 18 months, we're gonna pay slightly more for our tomatoes, but make it profitable for the American farmer to grow them. Stop paying them to let their fields go fallow
Right.
and let them plant.
I think we have enough weather, terrain, whatever you want to call it, in this country, from the East Coast to the West Coast, from the North to the South, to probably grow just about anything that we would need, with the
Yeah.
exception of, exotic type fruits or whatever. And
But
even those could probably be grown in a greenhouse.
well, not just that, Dee, but we have Hawaii where we can
Yeah,
grow exotic crops. We
right.
have the US Virgin Islands for the for exotic crops.
Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico. We could literally grow everything we need.
Yeah. But yet we're relying on other places that, you know, have you gotten tomatoes from another country that are like hard as a rock that you could probably bounce them off somebody's head and, unalive
Mhm.
them?
Oh, I'm certain of it. Now, because of where I live, in the summertime, we tend to grow our own tomatoes. My dad grows
Yeah.
tomatoes,
Right.
which I recommend everybody, grow something for themselves. I don't care if you just put a little basil planter in your window, grow something for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, yeah, the crops that they have to pick them green, ship them,
Right.
and it's like, ugh, why are we doing this?
Right. And if you can't, I mean, there's even patio things that if you
Patio gardens, the
patio
planters.
garden, yeah, the planters you can put on your patio. Go to a
Um,
local flea market. That yeah, well,
Farmers market,
no,
farmers market, I with you.
at our flea markets though, you can buy fresh vegetables and fruits, so it does work. Farmers markets, flea markets, outdoor markets. We even have in our indoor malls. Once the crops come in, they permit them to sell. Like in the middle of the, like how you
Mhm.
have the stores on the outer
Yeah,
side
kiosks.
block, yeah, and they take all the kiosks out and they let the farmers markets come in once a week to sell their produce. So there's options available to you. Even things like I don't know if families would consider getting together and you can get a animal uh, butchered and wrapped for you, and hunting. Thank goodness EJ hunt. Although I'm not a big deer meat person, but we'll do what we got to do. And we were lucky last year with his 3 deer that he got, and so that more than filled the freezers. Uh,
Art, I do want to address that comment, but, I wanna say something to Dee first about, you were talking about there are options. There are options that people don't even know exist. So, I don't know about every state, but I think at least half the states, those who are on SNAP benefits,
mm-hmm.
there is a program that in the spring and summer, and sometimes even into the fall, will give you 2 to 1 on, buying at a farmer's market.
Yes,
So
have that. Mm-hmm.
right, so that you're getting literally twice as much at a farmer's market as you would be able to get in your local grocery store for fresh fruits. I'm tr I know we've linked it before, B, and I can't remember the name of the program, it's right off the top of my head, but it does exist. People don't know that that's an option. They don't know that they can use they also don't know that they can use their SNAP benefits to buy tomato plants, pepper plants,
apple trees.
apple
Yes.
trees,
Yep. Yep.
blueberry bushes. They don't know that that's an option.
You mean
And
purple?
it's not marked that
Purple.
way in the stores, so they don't see it
No,
either.
no,
You
right.
can buy seeds and plants
Correct.
Mhm.
on food stamps.
Yes.
Yeah.
It makes
And
life
a
a
lot
lot
of
better.
hold on, what are they called? Oh, what's it called here? And it's called the state ex. Oh, fudge! I'm gonna have to look it up. I know the university it's out of. It's called the extension something or other, and there is I don't know if every state has it, but they actually tell you how to grow things
Mhm.
if you're just from beginning to experienced, from plants to animals to all
Yep.
types of things.
Yeah, which
uh,
in Indiana, that's the Purdue extension. I don't know what it would be in your state, but
yeah,
you're in Pennsylvania, so I'm going to
I have it. Yeah,
guess.
we have it. Yeah, I
Yeah.
just couldn't think of the name, if there's a general name for all of the states. I don't know if it's called the same thing for, is it the Florida State Extension? or whatever out of a certain
Usually,
university.
yeah, I was gonna say usually it's the university. So whichever university in your state deals the most with, in our case, it's Purdue. Um, so whatever, I'm
Yeah,
trying to remember in
uh,
Pennsylvania who
it's
the
Penn
big,
State. Penn
yeah,
State. Yeah.
is, right.
So
The cooperative extension?
I think that might be it. I'll double check it what it is here in Pennsylvania, and I'll have it for tomorrow.
And there's also programs called Future Farmers of America in most states and
Yeah,
4-H in most
yeah,
states.
yeah. That's
Great programs for your kids if you've got the money.
yeah. That's what Jacob's doing right now is the 4-H program with the
Oh,
goat.
yeah, you got the goats. That's
Yeah,
right.
and
They're
that's
cute.
oh yeah, they're cute, but it's going to be hard to give them up.
I don't like goats
I
as a pet.
well, the girl is fine. The boy is another problem, as most men are. But whatever. Uh,
To an audience of mostly males.
well, that's fine. That's why I said it. I get them riled up before. We don't get to talk to them till Tuesday now. Um, but yeah, the 4-H program. I struggle with that, but I understand that it is necessary to have uh, for it to happen. Thank you for
Yep.
joining us. We appreciate you stopping by.
Much appreciated.
Yes, and we hope you catch our other show Tuesday through Friday called
Friday.
yes Rex Sisters from 3 to 5 as well, which has just
I
as
dumped all the links and stuff into the
yeah
info.
great.
Okay, I'm leaving. That's it.
Sorry, Art.
We love you,
Oh,
Art. We love you.
now he gets all offended. Okay, now he's all
Well,
offended.
it's still, I mean, if you look at the one item he wanted me to use to silence my ex-brother-in-law that he
It's
suggested sending in the mail, I
exactly,
can't repeat because we're on public and YouTube and all
exactly.
that.
That was okay though. Okay, we see how it is.
Oh, 4-H is bomb. They have grants and scholarships for low income
Uh,
too.
yeah,
Yep.
it's just going to be rough to know what potentially their future holds. That's all.
All
But
right, we'll see you
it
later. The knees bees,
yeah,
knee bee, heebie jeebies. I will
yeah,
get it right later,
yeah. We're gonna practice that, aren't we?
or I just sum it up to the knee bee.
There you go.
Yeah.
But yeah, knowing what their future holds, that's the hard part, to
Hmm.
but it's a
And
fact
that's why you
of life.
got to give them the skills while they're young. I
I
made
know
gardening a fun thing with the kids,
exactly.
and that way they know how to do it, and it's not a burden. It's fun.
Hmm. Yep. Anyway,
Oh, we are going on the 3 hour mark. Holy crap.
seriously,
Yeah.
how'd
Two
that?
hours and 52 minutes.
Oh wow.
Yep.
Well,
Yep. It's been a heck of a fun day.
it went by quick, and I was even here at 2 o'clock. I was on your time.
Hmm. Yeah, you jumped in an hour early.
Yes,
That's
I
right.
yeah. I was all confused, and I was like, "Where are you at?"
You were discombobulated
Yes,
today.
I was. I was
And
like,
there's a
"Where
big
you at?"
word, and if people don't know it, find a dictionary.
But
Amen.
Discombobulated.
but
Discombobulated.
you have to know how to spell it though. You know what I mean?
Sound it out. Hooked on
So,
phonics worked for me.
uh, no, yeah, yeah.
And yes, Hooked on Phonics still exists, by the way,
I know
Yes.
it
in
does.
case anyone doesn't
And
know.
and now they call it sounding and blending in school when the kids know jack shit. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah,
That's
Hooked
why
on Phonics.
that's why my man JT is going to be in little Miss D's summer school from 8 to 12 and we're going old school. Yes, we are.
Speaking of, again, it's something that I discussed with B a while ago, and that is Indiana has gone back to teaching the old school way. They now teach phonics. They now teach regular math, not this Common Core, whatever
Uh,
that crap that was.
how about
Yep,
give us a book?
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah,
it
instead of
would.
paper.
Yep.
Yeah,
It's less easier to cheat when you use paper than an electronic.
true.
Yep.
But I mean the
Ebonics? Wait, what was California? Never mind.
Oh, SNL.
Yep.
Classic
Mhm.
SNL.
Yes.
I love art. Art. If ever you want to come up here, you are welcome anytime. Just
Yeah.
gonna put that offer out
Yeah.
there anytime.
Yeah. We've offered that up. I'm not quite so sure he could. You know.
That's fine, but the offer will always stand.
Yeah.
Art, you're awesome. But
Anytime, any day. You can even we'll even let you interrupt programming. How about that? If you have something to say.
You're teaching back then.
Uh,
Awesome.
yeah.
I was teaching back then. Yep.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I mean this whole thing it's all messed up.
He,
There isn't one thing that isn't messed up.
I do need to still send him my wheelchair to get that engine put on it. I want to do Mach 5.
Yeah, for
I'll need to
real.
try Mach 5.
That was ridiculous.
Hey, I'd have a really nice souped up wheelchair.
Well, actually, B, have you ever thought about they make an extension for an e-bike, right? So you can convert a regular bike to an e-bike. Put one of those on your
Yeah,
chair.
that's what I've thought about. And actually, I was looking at pricing them, and I'm better off just taking a motor off of an electric lawnmower, popping it
Uh,
onto my
Oh
wheelchair,
my
and going from
god.
there.
oh, I
Oh
love
geez.
that. I love that. Yeah, because you could use a drivetrain. Oh,
Yeah,
that'd be epic.
that's why I was thinking the lawnmower because it has the drivetrain in it to make it
Yeah,
easier to cut the grass. Just pop it on the wheelchair.
yeah.
It can't be that complicated. I've done similar shit in the past. Helping my dad work on go-karts and stuff like
And
that.
so
So, I
you're gonna
mean,
get it started how?
it's electric.
Okay.
So there's no pull cord.
Yeah, it's literally
It's
push
not a
button.
gas engine.
Okay.
Now, if she was gonna do a
And
gas engine, I would recommend her use a go-kart because then you can take the
Yeah.
governor off.
See, I go back to the days when Eric raced, so
that's what I'm thinking. My dad.
I'm in the
Yep.
way back machine, so I'm way back. So
Yep.
I'm like, what
Art
the
says
hell are you
my
talking
wheelchair will
about?
probably have wheelie bars. I would have to put wheelie bars on mine
Yeah,
too. Yep.
she need a cage around it.
Yeah.
You know what? I should probably show that picture I sent you guys.
Go ahead. That makes the
Of the
day.
wheelchair upgrade that they were
Oh yeah.
offering.
Yes.
That
This is
nonsense
legit.
on Amazon.
This is legit.
Hold on, let me share this
How many
because
stars
this
did
is
they get?
you'd have to be utterly stupid, and I mean utterly stupid, to buy this
How many
and think that
stars
it's
did that get?
legit. Hold on, let me pull this up. Look at this crap. They say this is a manual wheelchair, by the way. There is no engine on this. And it says one mode of control. Drives for up to 12 miles. A 10 amp battery capacity. Single powerful moto,
Right.
single powerful moto,
We
and no
lost the
folding.
picture. We lost the picture.
Oh, there you go.
Thank you.
I apologize. And that's a manual wheelchair with some brakes on it. This is a full electric one with the tilting back. And this is what they're comparing a manual wheelchair. There is no motor on this to a electric one on Amazon.
Wait. It does say you could have it in electric mode and you could switch it over to manual mode.
For
Maybe that
this one, yes. But
right.
this one over here is
Right.
just a manual
Right.
wheelchair.
Correct.
And they're acting like, oh, it can only drive up to 12 miles. Yeah, because that's about as far as I'm going to wheel myself.
Now, I want to know what that battery is for.
There is no battery.
Hey, but it literally lists a 10 amp hour battery capacity.
But there's no battery.
I know.
If you look
Wait,
at it, and
I
where the
wanted to.
battery's right here, along with the drive motor, but where is it here? They're
Yeah,
comparing them.
I
Like,
know.
really? Really? Really, Amazon? Am I that
Plus
stupid?
plus this one on the left here doesn't fold either. At least the one on the right folds up for you.
I'm telling you. How stupid do they think people are?
I don't know. I was kind of wondering if maybe you shoved the battery up your rump.
Well, I mean, have you seen?
I will love wheelchair race scenes in Days of Thunder. Oh,
Uh-huh.
hell yes, I love that movie. Oh, that's a good movie. Oh, that would be fun.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and close that down. But yeah, it's just like people will say the stupidest things to get things to sell. It is so unacceptable. But yeah, watch out for those Amazon offers.
Right.
Sometimes they're full of shit.
Right.
But my phone is blowing up. Something
All
bad
right.
must have happened
All
between my
right.
dad and he's calling again.
Well,
So
we made the 3 hour mark. This has been our first 3 hour. Uh,
in a while.
yes. And let's see. The next time you hear from me will be Baby JJ. Look out, people, cause it's
Oh,
on.
he's just an extra
I know.
co-host. We're gonna have to make him his own account. Bring his
Right.
little picture up here. We can
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah.
Log
Right.
him in on the tablet and
What
you
do you
on
want?
the
The
phone or
one?
the computer.
You want the one duct taped to the wall or the one Velcro? Probably Velcro would probably be better as a
Yeah.
attractive looking.
Yeah.
And it won't leave sticky residue on his skin
Well,
or his clothing.
yeah. So this week, don't forget, we are going to be on a 2 week trial to determine if any programming changes are necessary due to
Yep.
crowd schedules. Either him
And
or
diaper
me or
schedules.
Crazy B. It could be
Oh
one of
no, we'll be in the middle of a podcast and he's gonna
yeah,
have one of those diapers that leaks from the back of his head all the way to his
to the front.
ankles.
Yeah,
What?
I
yeah,
remember
right.
those.
And so one of the three of us could be crying, so we may have programming changes.
It might be all three of us
Right
crying.
at
What
the
do you
same time.
one of us?
Right. Yeah. And so we're on a 2 week trial unless things happen sooner than later. Uh, but we'll see how things go. And for the first week, I'm going to go up to their house because I decided that what I originally was going to do down here, I changed my mind. So now all kind of stuff got to be rearranged. And I'll be spending the evenings getting the new rearrangement done. But I
Yeah,
appreciate everybody bearing with us as we embark on the journey of raising. What do they say? What did Oprah say? Oh, I don't want to repeat that saying.
yeah, she's got a
Yeah,
pretty
don't
rough
say it.
history.
Yeah, don't say it. Don't say it. But
Yeah,
anyway, it will be anybody that goes along for the ride with us. We appreciate you and
absolutely.
help us raising this kid.
We could start a plug fund to for like when he starts crying, they can send money for a plug fund.
Yeah.
That's what
Since
my
we're,
parents used to
wait,
call pacifiers. They called
right.
them plugs.
Yeah, since we're not making any money, I'll just have them scream. Okay, the next person that donates 50 cents, we'll shut them up. Okay, pacifiers in 10 seconds, right? We'll have to create like a little plug chart then, I guess, right?
Yeah, I think a plug fund would be
Yeah.
great.
And then it's going to be, well, here's the crawling. I mean, we were talking today about having to put him on a harness and a leash and stuff when he starts
Yeah,
crawling and walking. I just drag him back across the room, you know?
yeah.
Oh, it's going to be fun.
Unless he's super smart like my brother and figured out how to get out of those.
Oh, don't even say that.
The device is only for adult use, just saying, LOL.
And we know what you're talking about, Art.
Not that harness and
All right.
leash.
All right.
Okay, yeah.
I got,
Before we end up on that topic like we did before about weird things and weird orifices that shouldn't have been there.
we're done. I got 6 eyeballs looking at me going, it's past dinner time, mother. Where's my food?
Yep, I've got my phone going off, so
Thank you, Phaedra.
all right.
Day.
You're welcome.
Thank
Good
you for
info.
stopping in.
Yes, good info.
Thanks.
Thank you, chat, for joining us. Don't forget,
Very
Monday.
I'm gonna say,
Go ahead.
go ahead, Dee. Sorry,
Nope,
there's a
I'm
lag.
done. I was just saying I'm out. I'm done. Good night, everybody. Have a safe Memorial Day.
Yep. Have a safe one, and y'all stay safe, sane, and sober as best you can this week. And we'll be back tomorrow with I don't
Tomorrow
know.
is
We'll
a
figure it out.
federally scheduled holiday. HR has put her foot down.
You're welcome, Art.
Okay, so I got to
Work.
take tomorrow off.
That
Okay,
is
I'll take
correct.
tomorrow off and just do gaming.
Correct. You may game
And
tomorrow.
Art says thanks to Faye too.
Hmm. So you can game tomorrow to your heart's desire.
All righty.
You can play whatever you want.
We'll do our best on that one, right?
And then we'll be back on Tuesday then, 3 to 5
Yep.
Eastern
Oh,
Standard.
and Botrex came at the perfect time with the like, comment, share, follow, and thank you to everyone for stopping in.
All right. Good night, everybody. Have a
All
good
right.
Memorial Day, and thanks to all our veterans out there for their service.
Yes. Alive and who are not with us
Who
anymore.
gave
You
us
all are
sacrifice,
appreciated.
sacrificed their life to give us our liberty and
Yep.
freedom.
Amen.
All right.
All right. We'll
All right.
see y'all later.
Good night.